Chapter 27-28 T for tat. They were defeated. All three geniuses of the unique demon academy had been defeated. Each of them had a gunshot wound on their chest. The wound went through their chest and blood was flowing out. The three of them were pale and their breathing was weak. Their faces were filled with deep shock. In that instant just now, they had almost thought that they were dead for sure. The others were also shocked. It was 1 against 3 and Lu Ming had actually won. This combat strength could no longer be described as shocking. Even Bing Qing, who was experienced and knowledgeable, had a deep shock in her eyes. The people from the other sects gasped. Is there anyone else who wants to fight in the unique Devil Academy? Lu Ming held the gun in one hand and swept his gaze across the people from the unique Demon Academy. He was unparalleled in his demeanor. I didn't expect the Kong-Xian sect to have someone like you. That's good. I'll meet you personally today. A cold voice sounded. It was the captain of the unique Devil Academy. He had been sitting in his seat the entire time. At this moment, he suddenly stood up from his seat. Boom! An extremely terrifying aura burst out from this person, and a vast pressure filled the void. Plop! Someone actually couldn't withstand this pressure and directly sat on the ground. Everyone felt as if a huge mountain was pressing down on them. This aura, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a hint of solemnity. The captain of the unique Devil Academy was definitely a terrifying figure. Stage 5 True God Realm. This was the cultivation that the team leader of the unique Devil Academy had revealed. However, the feeling that he gave off was much stronger than the other Stage 4 True God Realm experts. For example, even if Hai reached Stage 5 True God Realm, it was impossible for him to give off such a strong pressure. The divine power that this person controlled was divine-grade divine power. Without a doubt, this was a top heaven's favorite. His battle power wasn't something that Huya could compare to. Huya was only at Stage 1 True God, while this person was already at Stage 5. A powerful aura burst out from Lu Ming's body. His entire person was like a straight divine spear, showing off its sharp edge. Boom! Their auras collided in the air, and the air exploded like thunder. The terrifying pressure made all the seats shake as if they were going to explode at any time. Many people hurriedly circulated their divine power to protect themselves. At the same time, they were on high alert. They knew that once Lu Ming started a fight with the team leader of the unique Devil Academy, the destructive power would be extremely shocking. The 9th young master of the Ice Soul clan looked around and suddenly stood up. He took a step forward and appeared between Lu Ming and the team leader of the unique Demon Academy. An icy aura emanated from his body. This cold aura was extremely terrifying, as if it wanted to freeze everything in the world. The aura of Lu Ming and the team leader of the unique Devil Academy seemed to be frozen by this aura. They could not help but restrain their auras. What terrifying strength! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Bing Qing's strength was probably above the team leader of the unique Demon Academy. Can the two of you give me some face and forget about today's matter? Bing Qing said. Previously, he did not stop them because he wanted to see their strength. However, the situation was getting more and more serious. If the Kong-Xian sect and the Yimo Academy were to fight, it would be disadvantageous for the mission later. Therefore, he stood up to stop them. The unique Demon Academy looked at Bing Qing with a grave expression. He could not see through Bing Qing's cultivation, and it gave him a strong pressure. Kid, you're lucky today. I hope your luck will always be this good. The team leader of the unique Demon Academy cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. A wisp of killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. He was shocked that Kong-Xian sect had produced a prodigy like Lu Ming. We can't let this person live. The team leader of the unique Demon Academy thought. The Kong-Xian sect was the leader of the top 10 sections. Over the years, they had become more and more powerful and were already a threat to the three overlords. Therefore, a prodigy like Lu Ming could not be left alive. Once he grew up, he would be even more terrifying. Lu Ming smiled faintly, then turned around and returned to his seat. Bing Qing and the rest also returned to their seats. Thank you for coming today. I believe that everyone is curious about the mission this time. Now, I will briefly explain the mission. The mission this time is to go to one of the Ice Soul Clan's ancestral lands and retrieve a treasure called the Ice Jade Heart. There are powerful restrictions on the way to the ancestral land, especially the time restriction. Only those under 10,000 years old can enter. Bing Qing said. Everyone came to a sudden realization. No wonder all the major sects sent people under 10,000 years old. So this was the reason. Therefore, with the Ice Soul Clan's strength, they would ask for help from the major sections. However, the Ice Soul Clan's strength was limited when it came to prodigies under 10,000 years old. There must be danger in your ancestral land, right? Someone asked. Of course. It's recorded in the ancient books that there are desolate beasts inside. Otherwise, the Ice Soul Clan wouldn't have paid such a huge price. If any of you are afraid and don't want to go, you can go back now. The Ice Soul Clan will send someone to send you back. Bing Qing smiled. Everyone was silent. They had already expected that there would be danger. Otherwise, the reward would not be so high. The Kongxian sect was rewarded with 20,000 points, and the other sects were offering similar rewards. Alright, since no one is backing out, we'll leave in 3 days. Come, let's drink. Bing Qing smiled, and everyone began to toast and drink. After 3 rounds of wine, everyone took their leave. You guys can go back first, I still have things to do. Lu Ming instructed An Hai and the rest. An Hai and the rest nodded and left. Soon, only Lu Ming and a few members of the Ice Soul Clan were left. Brother Lu, do you have anything else? Bing Qing looked at Lu Ming. I do have something to ask you, Ninth Young Lord. Lu Ming said. He wanted to ask Bing Qing about the whereabouts of the Cold Moon Stone and if possible, by some. Oh. You guys can leave. Bing Qing waved at the other members of the Ice Soul Clan, and they left. Brother Lu, what's the matter? Please speak. Bing Qing laughed. Ninth Young Master, Lu Ming would like to ask if the Ice Soul Clan has Cold Moon Stones? Lu Ming asked directly. Cold Moon Stone. Bing Qing's expression changed slightly before she nodded. That's right. The Ice Soul Clan does have Cold Moon Stones. There really is. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Ninth Young Master, can you sell a few Cold Moon Stones to Lu Ming? Lu Ming said. Sell it to you? This might not work. The Ninth Young Master shook his head slightly. You can't sell it? Lu Ming was stunned. That's right, Brother Lu. To tell you the truth, the Cold Moon Stone is an extremely precious treasure even in the Ice Soul Clan. Moreover, every piece used is one less piece. Even now, there are very few Cold Moon Stones in the Ice Soul Clan. They're all kept in the treasure vault by the important figures of my clan. It's very difficult for me to get even one. Bing Qing smiled bitterly. Chapter 2729 Cold Moon Stones Whereabouts. Lu Ming was greatly disappointed. He had thought that even if there were not many Cold Moon Stones in the Ice Soul Clan, there would not be a lot of them. He did not expect that Cold Moon Stones were extremely precious treasures even in the Ice Soul Clan. Even Bing Qing had a hard time getting her hands on one, so it would be impossible for him to buy some. It seems that if I want to cultivate the ice shackles to the large success stage, I can only find a replacement treasure in the future. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. In order to cultivate the ice shackles to large success, cold moon stones were not the only things that could be used. Other precious cold attribute materials could also be used, but most of them were extremely precious. Brother Lu, if you really want to get the cold moon stone, there's a way. Bing Qing suddenly changed the topic. What is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up slightly. To tell you the truth, Brother Lu, most of the cold moon stones of the Ice Soul clan came from the ancestral land. However, the ancestral land was closed for some reason countless years ago and was filled with powerful restrictions. It took a long time for the restrictions to weaken so that outsiders could enter. This time, Brother Lu, if you're lucky, you might be able to get some cold moon stones. Our main goal in entering the ancestral land this time is to obtain the Ice Jade Cold Heart. However, we also have another goal, which is to obtain some cold moon stones to bring out. Bing Qing said. So the cold moon stone came from the Ice Soul clan's ancestral land. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He was full of anticipation for this trip to the Ice Soul clan's ancestral land. He had to get a few cold moon stones. Brother Lu, if you can find the cold moon stone in the ancestral land, it's yours. You can take it away. Bing Qing added. Thank you, ninth young master. Lu Ming cupped his fists in thanks and then left. 3 days passed by in a flash. 3 days later, everyone gathered again. The geniuses of the 6 major sects, including the Yimo Academy and the Kongxian sect, and half of the geniuses of the Ice Soul clan, added up to nearly 100 people. The Ice Soul clan itself had about 50 people. It could be said that all the top masters under the age of 10,000 years of the Ice Soul clan had come. The Ice Soul clan was naturally led by the 9th young master, Bing Qing. Everyone, please follow me. Bing Qing said as she flew in a direction. Everyone followed her and arrived at a large teleportation formation. The territory of the Ice Soul clan was very vast. There were more than 80 galaxies and countless vital planets. Their ancestral land was a long way from the Ice Soul star. There were already dozens of figures at the side of the teleportation array. These figures were all dressed in white robes. There were men and women, but they were all very old. Greetings, clan elders. Bing Qing and the Ice Soul clan's elites saluted the old men. These old men were the elders of the Ice Soul clan. They were definitely terrifying experts. Everyone's here, right? Let's go, said an elder of the Ice Soul clan. He stepped into the teleportation formation first, followed by the rest of the elders. Why did he need so many experts from the Ice Soul clan? This thought flashed through many people's minds. Then, they all stepped into the teleportation array. The teleportation array flashed and everyone disappeared. After half a month of teleportation, they arrived on a barren planet. Then, an elder of the Ice Soul clan took out a large interplanetary warship. They boarded the warship and flew for a few more days. In front of them, a strange place appeared. There were countless huge rocks floating in the universe in front of him. These rocks seemed to be formed by the explosion of a planet. They were suspended in the air. From a distance, these rocks seemed to form a road that led to the front. This was the ancestral land of the Ice Soul clan. The elder kept the starship and they stood in space. However, a layer of light appeared on Lu Ming and the others, enveloping them. True gods couldn't stay in the universe for long, so the light curtain was set up by the elders of the Ice Soul clan. The Ice Soul clan's ancestral land is in the depths of these broken rocks. Let's wait a moment. We need to pass through these broken rocks to enter the ancestral land. Bing Qing introduced. Pass through these broken rocks? We're all at the true god stage, but it's hard for true gods to stay in the universe for long. Someone's expression changed. In front of him, those huge broken stones were suspended in the starry sky. It was no different from being directly exposed to the universe. Don't worry. This rocky area was formed by the explosion of a real-life planet in the distant past. It's full of powerful restrictions, but also because of the restrictions, the environment of this rocky area is similar to a life planet. As long as you're under 10,000 years old, you can enter. Bing Qing explained, and everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Alright, you can go in now. Bing Qing, you have to remember that you only have half a year. After half a year, the restriction here will be strengthened again. By then, you won't be able to come out even if you want to. Remember, regardless of whether you have completed the mission or not, you have to come out within half a year. Do you understand? One of the elders warned Bing Qing. Understood. Bing Qing nodded, then in a flash, he rushed towards the area of broken rocks and stood on a huge piece of broken rock. Buzz! Buzz! Whoosh! The others moved as well. They rushed out one after another and stood on the crushed stones. It's indeed similar to other life planets. Lu Ming landed on a piece of gravel and his heart skipped a beat. The environment here was similar to a life planet. There was also air and even divine qi, but the gravity here was much lower. Let's go. Bing Qing was the first to rush into the depths of the gravel area. They jumped on the gravel at an amazing speed. Soon, more than 100 people disappeared from the sight of the Ice Soul Clan's elder. I hope this trip will be successful. A clan elder sighed. The Ice Jade Heart was extremely important to the Ice Soul Clan. However, a great turmoil had occurred in the Ice Soul Clan a long time ago. A tragic war had broken out, and the Ice Soul Clan's ancestral land had almost collapsed. Since then, a terrifying restriction had formed outside the Ice Soul Clan's ancestral land, preventing others from entering. Only after waiting for a long time would the restriction on the Ice Soul Clan's ancestral land weaken. Only those under 10,000 years old would be able to enter. In the distant past, they had sent people in, but they had failed. If they failed again this time, they didn't know how many years they would have to wait. They're here. Suddenly, an elder of the Ice Soul Clan looked in a certain direction. His eyes were filled with killing intent. The other elders of the Ice Soul Clan also looked in that direction with cold eyes. Whoosh! A huge starry sky battleship rushed over from that direction. As it approached, the starry sky battleship stopped. A group of people appeared in the starry sky. The people in the lead were also a group of elders, but their skin was red, and they exuded a scorching aura that seemed to set the starry sky on fire. Chapter 27:30 Entering the Ice Soul Clan's ancestral land, the Red Flame Tribe. These people were all powerhouses of the Red Flame Tribe. In the Qin Heaven Star Zone, apart from the Qin Heaven 13 clans, there were two clans that were the strongest. They were the Ice Soul Clan and the Scarlet Flame Clan. Each of these two clans was stronger than any single overlord sect. The two great races together occupied a small half of the Qin Tian Galaxy's territory. Moreover, the Ice Soul Clan and the Scarlet Flame Clan had never been on good terms. They had been competing with each other for countless years. The Ice Soul Clan wanted to obtain the Ice Jade Cold Heart from the ancestral land, but the Scarlet Flame Clan would not allow it. Every time, the Red Flame Tribe would send someone to stop them. Behind some of the elders of the Red Flame Tribe, there was a group of young experts. In addition to this group of young experts of the Red Flame Tribe, there was also a group of young Heaven's favorites who were not from the Red Flame Tribe. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely recognize a few familiar faces. The Golden Sage of the Vajra race and Yang Chong. The two of them had competed with Lu Ming during the Qintian 13 clan's A.S. assessment. Later on, the Golden Sage joined the Indestructible Sword sect, one of the three overlords, while Yang Chong joined the Boundless Holy Land. Needless to say, these youths were all from the other sects of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. The geniuses of the Indestructible Sword sect and the Boundless Holy Land were all here. Red Flame Tribe, you've come. An elder of the Ice Soul clan said coldly. You want to get the heart of Ice Jade and suppress my Scarlet Flame Tribe? It's not that easy. An old man from the Scarlet Flame clan sneered. Don't even think of stopping me. The elder of the Ice Soul clan said coldly, and a powerful aura burst out of his body. Boom! 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 The dozens of elders of the Ice Soul clan released a shocking aura at the same time. The aura was filled with a terrifying chill. The space where they were in was instantly frozen and the ice spread toward the Scarlet Flame clan. Small tricks, melt it. The elder of the Red Flame tribe shouted. Then, all the experts of the Red Flame tribe burst into flames. The entire starry sky was about to burn. Boom! 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 One side was icy cold while the other side was scorching hot. The two sides continued to clash, causing the starry sky to shake violently. Well, block the Ice Soul clan's old farts. You guys charge into that area. The overlords of the Red Flame clan roared and attacked the elder of the Ice Soul clan with various attacks. Kill! The elders of the Ice Soul clan roared and attacked. The two sides engaged in an intense battle, and the scene was extremely shocking. If the two sides fought on a life planet, it would probably cause a destructive disaster. A battle between such figures was too terrifying. Even a wisp of energy that leaked out could destroy a small world like the Heaven Realm and the Primordial Realm. Charge! As the powerhouses from both sides fought, the Scarlet Flame race and the other sects, Heaven's favorites, took the opportunity to rush into the rocky area. D.A.M.N. it. The elders of the Ice Soul clan shouted, but they were helpless. The Ice Soul clan had gone through a great turmoil countless years ago. Now, their strength was no longer as strong as the Red Flame clan. The Red Flame clan had come prepared. If they stopped the Ice Soul clan, they could let the others take the opportunity to rush into the rocky area. They could not stop them. Seeing those young men rush into the area of broken stones, the two sides fought for a while more, then both retreated and faced each other. Humph, even if they rush into the area of broken rocks, they might not be able to stop the prodigy of my Ice Soul clan. An elder of the Ice Soul clan snorted. Oh, that might not be the case. An old man from the Scarlet Flame tribe sneered. The prodigies of the Scarlet Flame race and the other sects of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans continued to move forward the moment they entered the area of broken rocks. They only stopped after going a long way. Why didn't you continue? One of the Immortal Sword sect's elite asked. There's no rush. We can't enter the Ice Soul clan's true ancestral land. Moreover, it's dangerous inside. Let's wait here. When the Ice Soul clan enters the ancestral land, even if they manage to obtain the Ice Jade Cold Heart, they'll be greatly injured. Well, wait here and catch them off guard. We can kill them easily. A tall and STURDY young man from the Red Flame tribe said. Brilliant plan. The others gasped in admiration. Then, they set up a concealment array in this area. Lu Ming and the group were moving forward and did not know what happened after that. This rocky area was very long. They had no idea how many miles they had traveled. The distance they had traveled could be measured in hundreds of millions of miles. These were formed from the explosion of a life planet. One could only imagine how long it had been. After 6 or 7 days of traveling, they had reached the end of the rocky area. A huge light screen appeared in front of them, blocking their way. Behind this light screen is my clan's ancestral land. Only the token of my clan can open it. Bing Qing explained, and then took out a statue. The statue was only a foot tall, and it seemed to be carved out of ice. It was crystal clear and exuded a bone-piercing chill. Bing Qing held up the statue and let it float in the air. Her hands formed a mysterious seal, and runes entered the statue. Buzz! The statue began to shake and emit a bright light. The bone-piercing chill became even stronger. Many people shivered and used their martial arts to resist it. The light screen on the statue seemed to resonate with the light screen. The light screen trembled slightly, and a vortex appeared on the light screen. "Quick, go in!" Bing Qing shouted. The Ice Soul Clan's paragon rushed into the vortex first, followed by Lu Ming and the others. In the end, only Bing Qing was left. Bing Qing grabbed the statue and rushed into the whirlpool, and the whirlpool slowly disappeared. After Lu Ming rushed into the vortex, he appeared on a mountain peak. To be more precise, it was an ice mountain. He looked around and found An Hai and the others beside him. "It's so cold." Someone shuddered and his voice trembled. The temperature of this world was shockingly low. Even a true God Realm expert would feel a bone-chilling cold, and a gust of cold wind blew over. They would have to use their divine power to resist it. Everyone looked into the distance, and what they saw was a patch of white. The snow was white, and the snow-white icebergs stretched as far as the eye could see. However, Lu Ming had cultivated the divine power of frost. This kind of environment did not affect him at all. On the contrary, he felt very comfortable. He activated the divine power of extreme cold. Between heaven and earth, wisps of cold air gathered towards him and were refined into the divine power of extreme cold. Cultivating in this place, those who cultivated cold attribute divine power would cultivate much faster. "Ninth young lord, where is the icy jade heart that you're looking for? This world seems to be very big." Someone asked Bing Qing. "I have a map here." An ice jade talisman appeared in Bing Qing's hand. She injected some divine power into it, and the jade talisman lit up. A map appeared in the air. Chapter 2731 Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Everyone looked at the map carefully. At the southernmost part of the map, there was a red dot that was shining. This red dot is our current location. Also, the center of the map is our destination. Bing Qing explained and pointed to the center of the map. There was a sign there. It was the sign of an ice mountain at the center of the map. Remember this map first. If we get separated later on, we'll meet up at the center. Also, we'll meet here within half a year and leave together. Bing Qing said. Everyone immediately focused their attention on the map and memorized it. Almost everyone who had reached the true God realm had a photographic memory. Soon, everyone memorized the map. "Let's go." Bing Qing kept the map and everyone flew towards the north. Hoo hoo hoo. The cold wind was bone-piercing and the temperature was shockingly low. However, there were still living beings in this world despite the low temperature. All sorts of plants grew on the mountains and in the valleys. Some were as white as jade, some were as red as fire, and some were as green as jade. In the valley, one could occasionally see the figures of some creatures flashing past. Everyone secretly praised her. Nature was indeed full of wonders. Very quickly, they had flown over 10 million miles away. However, there was still a long way to go before they reached the center. Buzz! At this moment, a sharp, ear-piercing sound was heard. Then, a beam of white light shot into the sky from an ice mountain, bringing with it a whistling cold wind as it pounced toward Lu Ming and the rest. That is a phoenix. When everyone saw the white light, they were shocked. The body of the white light was a snow-white bird, which looked exactly like the divine beast phoenix. It's the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Be careful. Bing Qing shouted. Gah! The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's speed was astonishingly fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived. With a flap of its wings, ice crystals that looked like ice swords flew towards Lu Ming and the rest. The power was terrifying. Everyone took action, circulating their divine power to resist. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands. He swept the spear at one of the ice crystals. Buzz! The ice crystals were shattered by Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's expression changed. He found that the power of the ice crystal was shockingly strong. As expected, some of the weaker cultivators were forced back by the ice crystals and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Gah! The cold jade ice phoenix screeched and flapped its wings continuously. Countless ice crystals, bringing with them a cold wind, swept towards them. "Bastard, I'll kill you." A voice sounded. It was the captain of the unique Devil Academy. This person was called Lu Shankai. Pitch-black divine power burst out of his body as he threw a few punches in succession. Lu Shankai, as the captain of the unique Devil Academy, controlled a divine grade power, and his combat strength was definitely terrifying. He punched out a few times, and a few fist forces crushed out, shattering a large number of ice crystals. Buzz! Lu Shankai turned into a black light and rushed toward the frost jade ice phoenix. Holy Demon Divine Seal. Lu Shankai's cold voice was heard. The black marks on his face glowed with a bright black light, then formed a huge black seal and pressed down on the ice phoenix. Gah! The frost jade ice phoenix let out an angry cry and opened its mouth to shoot out a white beam of light, clashing with the seal that Lu Shankai had thrown out. Boom! The two of them exploded with a shocking boom. The pillar of light shot out by the frost jade ice phoenix was shattered. However, the power of Lu Shankai's seal was also greatly reduced. It continued to suppress the ice phoenix. The frost jade ice phoenix spread its wings, which were like ice blades, and flapped. Boom! Lu Shankai's seal exploded, and he was sent flying backward. The seals on his face were bleeding as if they had cracked. Lu Shankai was actually no match for the frost jade ice phoenix. Many people were shocked. Lu Shankai's strength was absolutely amazing, but he still couldn't defeat the frost jade ice phoenix. If the others went up, they would only die. After forcing Lu Shankai back, the frost jade ice phoenix flapped her wings and turned into a white light as she pounced towards the crowd. Get lost! At this moment, Bing Qing made her move. Her entire body seemed to have turned into a sword light, emitting an icy cold aura. The frost jade ice phoenix's wings slashed out like blades, clashing with Bing Qing's sword light. Thump! The frost jade ice phoenix and Bing Qing retreated at the same time. However, the two of them continued to fight fiercely. They exchanged more than 10 moves in a row, but it was difficult to determine the winner. I blocked it. The others were overjoyed, but at the same time, Bing Qing's strength shocked them. Bing Qing's combat strength was even above Lu Shankai's. Gah gah gah. The frost jade ice phoenix couldn't take the battle down and let out an angry cry. Her attacks became more and more violent, but Bing Qing's combat strength was extremely strong. She completely blocked the frost jade ice phoenix and even gained the upper hand. However, at this moment, everyone's expression changed drastically. That was because a sharp cry was heard in the surrounding area. Then, from some of the ice mountains, figures rushed out. Frost jade ice phoenixes, all of them were frost jade ice phoenixes. At a glance, there were a total of 8 of them. With the one from before, there were 9 of them. The 8 behind had huge bodies and wingspans of over 200 meters. Their auras were extremely terrifying and were definitely not any weaker than the one before. Everyone's expression became extremely ugly. With so many frost jade ice phoenixes appearing all at once, how could they fight? The cries of the 8 frost jade ice phoenixes resounded through the firmament. They flapped their wings and dense ice crystals shot towards Lu Ming and the others. Block it, attack! Someone shouted. Everyone used their full strength to block the ice crystals. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming kept swinging his long spear. In an instant, dozens of ice crystals were pierced. Lu Ming's figure also drifted backward. The power of these ice crystals was very shocking. Ah! Ah! There were a few consecutive screams, but not everyone could block them. A few young men had their bodies pierced by ice crystals and were frozen. Then, with a bang, they exploded into pieces. On the side of Kong Xian's sect, they did not suffer any losses. Lu Ming had blocked dozens of ice crystals alone earlier, sharing a large amount of the pressure. But at this moment, the frost jade ice phoenixes were already approaching. Go, quickly go. At this moment, Bing Qing had repelled the frost jade ice phoenix with a single strike and was charging towards Lu Ming and the rest. The group gathered and charged in a direction without the frost jade ice phoenix. Ga ga ga. A total of 9 frost jade ice phoenixes chased after Lu Ming and the others. The two sides, one chasing and one escaping, flew tens of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. However, the 9 frost jade ice phoenixes were still in hot pursuit. Everyone's expression was gloomy. They didn't expect to be so unlucky. They had just entered and they had already encountered 9 such terrifying frost jade ice phoenixes. This won't do. If we continue like this, the 9 frost jade ice phoenixes will catch up to us sooner or later. At that time, we'll be surrounded and blocked. Only death will await us. Someone said. Then what? Someone asked. Let's split up, Bing Qing spoke and made her decision. Split up. The others' expressions also changed. Chapter 2731 Relentless Pursuit, that's right, let's split up. Bing Qing repeated, there are only 9 frost jade ice phoenixes. Let's split up into a dozen groups. This way, at least a portion of us won't be chased by the frost jade ice phoenix. Also, if the frost jade ice phoenixes split up and chase us, it will be easier for us to escape. At least we won't be surrounded. Then, what if the 9 frost jade ice phoenixes didn't split up, but instead joined together to pursue a group of people? Someone asked. Then it can only be said that that group of people is unlucky. Bing Qing said. Some people's faces paled and looked a little unsightly. If they split up and escaped, the 9 frost jade ice phoenixes would focus on the same group of people and only death would await them. I agree. Let's split up. Lu Shankai was the first to speak. I also agree. Then, Lu Ming also spoke. The team leaders of 2 sects had agreed, and Binking's side had obviously agreed as well. The other sects could only agree. Alright, how do we split it? We'll decide on our own. When we get separated, we'll meet at the center of the map. Bing Qing ordered. More than 50 Ice Soul Clan's geniuses were divided into 12 teams and scattered in all directions. Lu Ming and the rest also spread out. Each of the sects split into teams and randomly chose a direction to fly in. The 10 people from the Kong Xian sect gathered together. In this way, there were 12 teams from the Ice Soul Clan and 18 teams in total, including the 6 sections. And there were only 9 frost jade ice phoenixes, so it was naturally impossible for them to chase after 18 teams at the same time. The 9 frost jade ice phoenixes cried out a few times and split up into 9 different directions, chasing after 9 of the teams. Ha ha ha, they didn't chase us. That's great. We're lucky, run. 9 of the teams were not pursued by the frost jade ice phoenix, and they were immediately overjoyed. They increased their speed and fled forward. It, they're chasing us. How unlucky. The teams that were being chased all had ugly expressions on their faces, but fortunately, there was only one chasing them, so there was still hope of escape. Lu Ming and the others were also being chased by a frost jade ice phoenix. What bad luck. The long-faced young man cursed as he used all his divine power to fly. They were very clear about the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's strength. It was too powerful. Even the team leader of the unique Demon Academy, Lu Shankai, was not its match. They were most likely no match for it either. They could only try their best to shake off the other party or hope that the other party would not pursue them relentlessly. The two sides, one chasing and one escaping, had been running for a full 2 hours. They had no idea how far they had run, but the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix was still chasing them. Furthermore, because they had been flying for a long time, they had used up a lot of their divine power, while the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix seemed to have an endless supply of energy. The distance between them was slowly closing. If this continued, it was only a matter of time before he was caught. What do we do? If I really can't, I'll fight it to the death. A few Kong Xian sect disciples roared in anger. It was impossible for anyone else to come to their rescue. At this moment, they had long since separated from the other sections. You guys go first, I'll block him. Lu Ming suddenly spoke. What? The others were all stunned. Lu Ming wanted to stay behind and fend off the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix alone. Although Lu Ming was powerful, he was definitely not a match for the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Previously, Lu Shankai's strength was shocking enough, but he was still at a disadvantage. Lu Ming was most likely no match for it. Buzz! Lu Ming's flying figure suddenly stopped. When the other members of Kong Xian sect saw this, they gritted their teeth and continued flying forward. Gah! The cold Jade Ice Phoenix screeched. It glared at Lu Ming with its sharp and cold eyes as it approached him quickly. Come on! Lu Ming muttered. A powerful fighting spirit emanated from his body. The battle character art tripled his combat power and exploded. Lu Ming did not stop because he was willing to sacrifice himself for others. The reason he stopped was that Enhai was a good person, and Lu Ming did not want him to die at the hands of the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Moreover, Lu Ming had stayed because he was confident that he could escape. If Lu Ming was not confident that he could escape, he would not stay. Let me see how strong you are. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and activated the 9-stage Crimson Gold Armor. A Crimson Gold Armor appeared. 3 apocalyptic strikes, break the sky. Lu Ming used his strongest move, becoming one with the spear, and turned into a dazzling spear ray, stabbing at the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Gah! The cold Jade Ice Phoenix cried out. Its body was covered in a thick layer of ice armor. Under the boost of its terrifying speed, it was like a sharp sword that pierced through the void. A sword light and a spear light collided with each other at an extremely high speed. Boom! And NBSP with a terrifying boom, the two forces collided, creating shockwaves that spread in all directions. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force rushing towards him. His body trembled violently as he was pushed back by this force. He only stopped after flying a few hundred miles. What powerful strength! Lu Ming felt the blood in his body churning and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Lu Ming was at a complete disadvantage in the clash just now. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's strength was beyond Lu Ming's imagination. If he had not activated the 9-layered Crimson Gold Armor in advance, his injuries would have been even more severe. Moreover, Lu Ming also controlled the ultimate cold divine power, so the ultimate cold chi of the Ice Phoenix was ineffective against him. Otherwise, if it were someone else, they would have been more seriously injured. Gah! The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix let out a cry and continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Again. Lu Ming charged at the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix once again, unleashing his divine power to the maximum. Although the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's strength was strong, it still couldn't kill him in an instant. It could only cause him some light injuries. This way, it could be used to hone his divine skills. The 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique. In the process of charging out, Lu Ming cast the 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique. His entire person seemed to have transformed into a Kunpeng, soaring up 90,000 miles. Bang! Lu Ming and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix collided once again. This time, Lu Ming was forced back as usual. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. His injuries were more serious, but it was not a big deal. Lu Ming took out a healing divine pill that he had bought long ago and swallowed it. Once again, he unleashed all his divine power and cast 3 divine skills at the same time, attacking the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. The amount of divine power consumed by casting 3 divine skills at the same time was shocking. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, the divine power in his body was depleted after a few attacks. However, Lu Ming had the Quant I-Tai formula. The Quant I-Tai formula stored a large amount of divine energy. At this moment, the divine energy gushed out continuously. The divine energy in Lu Ming's body was replenished. Boom! 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 Lu Ming and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix collided more than a dozen times in a row. Lu Ming was forced to retreat backward each time. However, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. Satisfying, satisfying. Although Lu Ming was injured at the moment, he was very happy. It was because of such an intense battle that his few godly skills were improving rapidly. Chapter 2733 Encountering the Yimo Academy. The 9-stage Crimson Gold Armor and the 3 Apocalyptic Strikes were both approaching the 4th stage. As for the 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique, it was also approaching the limit of the 2nd stage. Lu Ming felt that he could make a breakthrough at any time. After that, Lu Ming and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix clashed a few more times. It's almost time. Lu Ming thought to himself. After such a long delay, Hai and the others had already escaped far away. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix could not catch up even if she wanted to. Moreover, after the repeated collisions, although Lu Ming was only slightly injured each time, his injuries had already become quite serious. Right now, it was still within the range of control, but if this continued, his injuries would be serious and his origin would be damaged. It would not be worth it. I don't want to play with you anymore. Lu Ming chose a random direction and cast the 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique. Like a Kunpeng, he dashed in that direction. The cold Jade Ice Phoenix screeched and chased after Lu Ming, its eyes filled with cold killing intent. It was obvious that it had been completely infuriated after failing to kill Lu Ming despite clashing with him continuously. Buzz! Buzz! 2 streaks of light streaked across the sky, leaving behind 2 bright trails of light as they disappeared into the distance. You're still a bit off if you want to catch up to me. Lu Ming smiled and activated the 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique to its maximum. A Kunpeng really appeared on the surface of his body. It looked illusionary, but it also increased Lu Ming's speed. I've broken through to the 3rd level. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He didn't expect that he would unintentionally break through to the 3rd level of the 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique. The 9 Heavenly Garuda Movement Technique was incomplete. There were only 7 levels, and each level was more powerful than the previous. Once a breakthrough was made, one's speed would increase explosively. Buzz! Lu Ming disappeared into the distance in an instant, and the distance between him and the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix widened rapidly. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix was different from the other divine phoenixes. It was not known for its speed. The Frost Jade Ice Phoenix's strongest point was its attack power. A casual attack contained the ultimate cold chi and could freeze everything. Lu Ming had only been able to fight against the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix for so long by relying on the divine power of the utmost cold. Therefore, the moment Lu Ming's 9 Heavenly Kunpeng Technique made a breakthrough, the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix could no longer catch up to him. Not long after, Lu Ming had completely shaken off the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Lu Ming had only been able to fight against the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix for so long by relying on the divine power of the utmost cold. Therefore, the moment Lu Ming's 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique made a breakthrough, the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix could no longer catch up to him. Not long after, Lu Ming had completely shaken off the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. This battle was worth it. Lu Ming smiled. The breakthrough in the 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique had improved his ability to protect himself. Immediately after, Lu Ming found a hidden place and swallowed another healing elixir to channel his energy to heal his injuries. Lu Ming's injuries were not serious. He had fully recovered after a few hours. Moreover, the divine power in his body was boiling and he was at his peak. Of course, this was all thanks to the quant I-Tai formula. With the quant I-Tai formula, Lu Ming did not have to worry about the consumption of divine power. He could replenish it in an instant after using it. There are cold moon stones in this area. Since we're here, let's look for them. We can't miss them. Lu Ming pondered and left the place. He headed to the central area according to the map. He cultivated as he hurried on his way. They did not encounter any more danger along the way. After half a day, Lu Ming arrived at an icy mountain range. This mountain range was incomparably huge and stretched across the world. If one wanted to cross it, one had to cross it. Roar! Roar! From afar, one could hear terrifying roars coming from the mountain range. It was obvious that there were terrifying wild beasts living in the mountain range. Lu Ming retracted his aura and landed on the ground. He used his ident I-Tai and rushed in. Roar! Not long after he rushed into the mountain range, a huge creature pounced on Lu Ming. It was a giant lizard that was dozens of meters tall. It was snow-white and emitted a cold aura. Its body was covered in a layer of ice armor, which seemed to have amazing defensive power. Lu Ming immediately thrust his spear. Buzz! The sound of metal clashing rang out. The long spear pierced the lizard's ice armor, and shattered ice flew in all directions. It made an ear-piercing sound. Break, kill! Lu Ming shouted and divine power burst forth. The long spear exploded with a terrifying penetrating power, piercing through the ice armor and killing the lizard. This desolate beast is so powerful. Lu Ming thought to himself that the ice-armored lizard's cultivation was only equivalent to a first-stage true god, but its ability was much stronger than many second-stage true god experts and it was even harder to kill. The Ice Soul clan's ancestral land was filled with cold air. The desolate beasts that lived there were generally stronger. After killing the lizard, Lu Ming continued to venture deeper into the mountain range. Following that, different wild beasts charged at Lu Ming. Fortunately, they were not particularly strong. There was no one as strong as the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix. Not long after, Lu Ming had already crossed more than half of the mountain range. CSISI. A few icy-armored giant pythons appeared and attacked Lu Ming. The abilities of these few icy-armored giant pythons were astonishingly strong. Each of them was not weaker than an ordinary fifth-stage true god. In addition, it had amazing defense and was very difficult to kill. Lu Ming had to put in a lot of effort before he could kill it. The skin and bones of this kind of icy giant python are good forging materials. They can be used to forge a mid-grade divine weapon, soft armor and a soft whip. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before he took action and peeled off the skin and bones of the few icy giant pythons. The soft armor and whips made from this kind of thing were most suitable for strong people who cultivated ice attribute Shen power. Their power would increase and they could be sold for a good price. There's danger. Lu Ming, who was peeling the snake's skin, suddenly felt his heart skip a beat. He moved 100 meters away. Bang! Bang! A few rays of black light bombarded the spot where Lu Ming had been standing. One of the rays even slashed the ice-armored python, cutting it into two. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's pupils constricted. He was very clear about the defense of the ice-armored giant python. Even if he used all his strength, he would not be able to break through it so easily. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! With a flash, a dozen figures appeared not far away. Unique Devil Academy, Lu Shankai. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. These dozen people were from the Unique Devil Academy. Originally, there were 18 people from the Unique Devil Academy. However, it seemed that there were only 16 of them. It seemed that 2 of them had already died. The person in the lead was Lu Shankai. Lu Ming, you're the only one left in your Kong Xian sect? Lu Shankai said as he swept his gaze across the room. So what if I'm alone? Lu Ming said indifferently. It's nothing. I can only say that you're unlucky to have met us here. Previously on Ice Soul Star, Bing Qing was there to stop you, but now, there's no one to help you. Lu Shankai said coldly, his strong killing intent spreading out without restraint. If you want to kill me, you'll have to pay a painful price. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and a strong fighting spirit emanated from him. I'll be the main attacker. You guys support me from behind and kill him as soon as possible. Lu Shankai sent a voice transmission to the other members of the Unique Devil Academy. The abilities that Lu Ming had displayed back then were too shocking. Other than him, the others were not reliable and could easily be killed by Lu Ming. Only when he stepped forward, and the others attacked from behind, would it be foolproof. Chapter 2734 Great Battle Against Lu Shankai Buzz. After the voice transmission ended, Lu Shankai's figure rushed out. At the same time, the black lines on his face glowed, emitting a few rays of black light. This black light was the one that had ambushed Lu Ming earlier. It was extremely powerful and Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. Boom! Lu Ming's fighting spirit surged. He immediately activated the double combat power of the battle character formula. The 5 divine fires in his dantian burned fiercely and all his divine power burst out in an instant. In an instant, Lu Ming stabbed more than 10 times in succession. More than 10 spear shadows were thrust out and collided with the black light that Lu Shankai had launched. Boom! 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 A series of explosions rang out and the ice rocks on the ground cracked. Lu Ming's body trembled as he felt an extremely powerful force surging towards him, causing him to retreat rapidly. Buzz! Buzz! The long spear in Lu Ming's palm vibrated continuously. He felt that the hand that was holding the spear was numb. What powerful strength! Lu Ming's face was a little solemn. Lu Shankai's strength was truly shocking. He was a 5th-tier true god and could control divine power. His strength was far beyond what An Hai and the others could compare to. Kill! At the same time, the other people from the Unique Devil Academy also made their moves. For example, Wuxia and the others were filled with killing intent and launched terrifying attacks. Lu Ming immediately activated the 9-layer scarlet gold armor. A scarlet gold battle armor covered his entire body. At the same time, Lu Ming retreated rapidly to avoid the attacks. You want to hide? Stay! Lu Shankai said coldly and charged at Lu Ming again. The black patterns on his face began to glow again, bursting forth with rays of black light. This black light was sharper than a divine blade, and its speed was astonishing. Again, die! Lu Ming shouted. His fighting spirit suddenly grew stronger. He had successfully triggered the tripled combat power. Then, Lu Ming used the 3 apocalyptic strikes. The spear's radiance burst forth and once again collided with Lu Shankai's black radiance. This time, Lu Ming had successfully dispelled Lu Shankai's attack. At the same time, he had blocked all the attacks from the others. You do have some strength. Lu Shankai's cold voice was heard, but the killing intent in his eyes was even stronger. The more powerful Lu Ming was, the more he had to be eliminated. Kill. Lu Shankai let out a long howl, and his aura became even more terrifying. His entire body was shrouded in a layer of black divine power, and he looked like a demonic god. The lines on his face glowed even brighter. Then, a huge seal condensed in his hand and he smashed it down on Lu Ming. Boom! The seal was as large as a mountain, and its power was extremely terrifying. Before it even landed, a terrifying force surged, and the ice stones on the ground continuously exploded. The huge seal directly enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming had seen Lu Shankai use this move against the Frost Jade Ice Phoenix before. One must know that Lu Shankai did not control the ultimate cold divine power. When he fought with the cold Jade Ice Phoenix, he had to resist the ultimate cold chi of the cold Jade Ice Phoenix. But even so, he was still able to resist the cold Jade Ice Phoenix, which showed his power. 3 apocalyptic strikes, break the sky. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He attacked with all his might. A dazzling spear radiance soared into the sky and collided with the black seal, causing a huge boom. Then, a figure fell to the ground and crashed heavily. It was Lu Ming. Lu Shankai's ability was indeed extremely shocking. Even though Lu Ming had used his full strength, he was still no match for him. This is a good chance, kill. Huya roared and attacked together with the other people from the unique Devil Academy. They launched attacks one after another at Lu Ming. Boom! The ground exploded, and a figure shot into the sky like a ROC. Although Lu Ming was no match for Lu Shankai, his injuries were not too serious. He activated the 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique and flew up into the 9 heavens, avoiding the attacks of Huya and the others. If you want to leave, then stay. Lu Shankai's entire person was like a black demonic light. He soared into the sky and charged toward Lu Ming. Let's go. Lu Ming did not linger in the battle. He cast the 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique, turned around, and left. With his current strength, he was still slightly weaker than Lu Shankai. With the help of the other people from the unique Devil Academy, he was definitely not a match for Lu Shankai. If they continued to fight, he would be in danger. The third stage of the 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique was shockingly fast. Lu Ming seemed to have turned into a shadow as he sped away. Humph, you want to escape from me? In your dreams, evil demon wings. Lu Shankai shouted coldly. The lines on his face glowed even brighter and spread to the rest of his body. Soon, the lines covered the rest of his body. Then, a pair of wings suddenly appeared on his back. It was a pair of devil-like wings. This was the innate secret skill of Lu Shankai's clan. Buzz. After extending his demonic wings, Lu Shankai's speed suddenly increased explosively and he charged at Lu Ming. He was actually slightly faster than Lu Ming. It was not that his innate secret technique was stronger than the 9 heavenly Kunpeng technique, but Lu Shankai's cultivation base was higher, so he was naturally faster when he used it. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. His divine power surged and he flew forward at full speed. The speed of the two was very shocking. Along the way, some wild beasts noticed them, but they didn't have time to attack. The two Pas said by in a flash. Quick, follow them. The rest of the people from the unique Demon Academy also rushed in the direction that Lu Ming and Lu Shankai had flown in. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Lu Shankai had flown tens of thousands of miles away. However, the distance between them was getting closer and closer. You can't escape. If I don't kill you today, my name isn't Lu Shankai. Lu Shankai said coldly. With a wave of his hands, a few rays of black light slashed toward Lu Ming, hitting the 9-layered scarlet gold armor on Lu Ming's body and almost shattering it. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Shankai kept on launching attacks, but Lu Ming blocked them with his spear. In the blink of an eye, they had traveled thousands of miles. Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed. A large canyon appeared in front of him. The large canyon was filled with an extremely terrifying cold air. This cold air even made people feel a sense of danger. Lu Ming did not look back and rushed into the canyon. Walala. After Lu Ming rushed into the Great Canyon, he realized that it was not an ordinary canyon. The bottom of the canyon was actually filled with water. Yes, in such a cold place, there was actually water, like a long and narrow lake. White mist kept rising from the lake, blocking the view of the valley. Chi. What was shocking was that the white mist that spread out from the lake surface made sizzling sounds when it touched Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming was circulating the 9-layer scarlet gold armor. However, a layer of frost had appeared on the surface of the 9-layer scarlet gold armor. The 9-layer scarlet gold armor had suffered serious damage, and waves of terrifying cold air were spreading towards Lu Ming's body. What a terrifying cold chi! Lu Ming was shocked. The cold air coming out of the lake was so cold that even the 9-layer scarlet gold armor was almost frozen. Lu Ming hurriedly circulated his ultimate cold divine energy to offset the cold air outside. However, Lu Shankai didn't have the divine power of extreme cold. He used all his divine power to block it, but the surface of his body was still covered in a layer of frost, which was bone-chilling. Chapter 27:35 The treasure at the bottom of the lake. Lu Shankai couldn't help but slow down. He even retracted his demonic wings, because they were also covered with a layer of frost. This is a good place. Let's go deeper. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he retracted the divine power of absolute frost. Immediately, Lu Ming's body was covered in a layer of frost. He looked as if he had almost been frozen into a snowman. He trembled as he continued to fly deeper into the canyon. At the sight of Lu Ming, Lu Shankai thought that Lu Ming would not be able to withstand it. The cold chi here is so terrifying. I don't think you can resist it even if you're at the 8th level of ethereal god realm. This place will be your grave. The killing intent in Lu Shankai's eyes turned even colder. He continued to chase after Lu Ming. Soon, they were deep in the canyon. The cold air here was even more terrifying. What is under the water? It's actually emitting such terrifying cold chi? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. He was a little curious. At the same time, he slowed down. Brat, die! Lu Shankai shouted coldly and launched an attack on Lu Ming. However, he had to resist the cold air outside, so the power of his attacks was naturally much weaker than outside. You're the one who's going to die. Lu Ming suddenly turned around, his eyes as cold as a knife. He circulated the ultimate cold divine energy and blocked the cold air outside. Then, all his divine power burst out and attacked Lu Shankai. Boom! Boom! After a few explosions, a figure was pushed back. It was Lu Shankai. You! How did you use your full strength? Lu Shankai shouted in shock. And NBSP in this place, the cold energy was too terrifying. If one used divine power to block it, one's body would quickly be frozen, and if one used divine power to block it, one's combat power would be bound to weaken. However, Lu Ming's attack power was not weak at all. No, you've mastered the divine power of extreme cold. How is this possible? You didn't use the divine power of extreme cold just now. Thinking of this, Lu Shankai cried out even more in shock and disbelief. A single person could actually control several Shen powers at the same time. Kill. Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. Once again, he charged at Lu Shankai. The spear light was like a rainbow, revealing a terrifying killing intent. You want to kill me? Dream on. Lu Shankai roared. Runes appeared all over his body, making him even stronger. He conjured a huge, pitch-black cauldron and hurled it at Lu Ming. However, it was a pity that he still had to use a part of his divine power to resist the cold air outside and could not unleash his full power. He was at a disadvantage in the collision with Lu Ming. Boom! The pitch-black seal shattered, and Lu Shankai was sent flying backward while vomiting blood. Kill! Lu Ming seized the opportunity and attacked Lu Shankai frantically. Walala! The energy surged and the water on the lake churned, stirring up thousands of waves. Some of the lake water fell on the surface of Lu Ming's body, and a bone-piercing chill instantly filled Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming could not help but shiver. One must know that Lu Ming was circulating the ultimate cold divine energy at the moment, but he still felt so cold. The temperature of the lake water was shockingly low. If Lu Ming was already in such a state, Lu Shankai was naturally in a worse state. He was splashed by the lake water, and his body turned into an ice block. Even his divine power was frozen. Ah! Lu Shankai roared and burned his divine power. His divine power burned like fire, melting the ice and removing the coldness. However, Lu Ming's attack had arrived. A spear's gleam was aimed at Lu Shankai's vital point. He roared and dodged the attack, but his chest was still pierced by the spear's gleam and his body flew far away. Lu Ming, you better remember this, Lu Shankai roared, stretched out his demonic wings, and turned to run. He knew that he would not be able to kill Lu Ming today. If he continued to stay, he might really die here. Where do you think you're going? Lu Ming gave chase. However, Lu Shankai was burning his divine power with all his might at the moment. His speed was astonishing. Lu Ming did not manage to catch up with him for a while. Lu Shankai rushed out of the canyon very quickly. After rushing out of the canyon, Lu Shankai spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. His aura was weak, and he was heavily injured. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He turned into a streak of light and flew into the distance. It's a pity that this guy got away. Lu Ming did not pursue him. He sighed to himself. Lu Shankai flew all the way. Not long after, he met the other people from the Unique Demon Academy. When the other people from the Unique Demon Academy saw that Lu Shankai was injured, they were shocked. Senior brother Lu, what's wrong? Where's Lu Ming? Could it be that Lu Ming has been killed by senior brother Lu? The disciples of the Yimo Academy spoke one after another. Lu Shankai's face turned even gloomier. Lu Ming is still alive. He's very cunning and is hiding in a dangerous place. I was hit by him accidentally. I'll find a place to recuperate first. The others were shocked when they heard that. It turned out that Lu Ming was not dead. He seemed to have tricked Lu Shankai and injured him. Immediately, they found a hidden place to stay. Lu Shankai did not reveal that Lu Ming controlled several types of divine powers. He had his own selfish motives and wanted to kill Lu Ming in secret to seize that kind of cultivation technique. To be able to control several divine powers at the same time, what kind of divine technique is this? I have to get it. Lu Shankai's eyes glowed with a cold light. He swallowed a divine pill and began to heal. Lu Ming did not leave the canyon. He was curious about the cold air in the canyon and decided to explore it. Lu Ming went deeper into the canyon. The deeper he went into the canyon, the thicker the cold air became. If he did not cultivate cold attribute divine power, it would be difficult to resist it. However, Lu Ming had the divine power of frost and could block it. Soon, they reached the end of the canyon, which was cut off by an ice wall. The cold air here was the thickest, and it was constantly emitted from the lake. There must be something underwater. Let's go down and take a look. Lu Ming made up his mind and then circulated the ultimate cold divine power, covering it with all his strength, and plunged into the lake. The moment he entered the lake, Lu Ming shivered again. The temperature in the lake was shockingly low. However, Lu Ming still blocked it and slowly dived down. The surface of the lake was not very deep, only about 100 meters. Very soon, Lu Ming reached the bottom of the lake. The moment Lu Ming reached the bottom of the lake, he noticed something strange. There was a ball of snow-white liquid at the bottom of the lake. It was the size of a fist and was suspended in the water, emitting a shocking chill. Lu Ming was certain that the source of the chilliness here was this ball of liquid. What kind of liquid is this? It's actually filled with such a shocking chill? Lu Ming sized it up carefully, but he did not recognize it at all. This is most likely a treasure, I can't miss it. Lu Ming approached it slowly. There was nothing unusual. Then, he took out a storage ring. A force of attraction appeared and enveloped the liquid, successfully storing it into one of the storage rings. As soon as the liquid was taken away, the temperature in the area rose rapidly. The chill was greatly reduced and it was not as cold as before. That liquid was indeed the source of the chill here. I'll study it after I bring it back. Lu Ming held the storage ring in his hand and was prepared to take it back to study it slowly. However, at this moment, a scene that shocked Lu Ming appeared. Chapter 2736 Refining a Treasure. Lu Ming grabbed the storage ring and was about to put it away when a terrifying chill suddenly gushed out from the storage ring, almost freezing Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming quickly let go of the storage ring and saw that a layer of frost had appeared on the storage ring. Gotcha! Then, a crack appeared on the storage ring. As the first crack appeared, a second crack immediately appeared. Then, more and more cracks appeared, and finally, the cracks were like a dense spider web. Bang! A moment later, the storage ring exploded into pieces like a piece of ice, and the liquid reappeared in the lake, exuding a shocking chill. The storage ring was frozen and shattered. Lu Ming was at a loss for words. Fortunately, there was nothing else in the storage ring. Lu Ming was afraid that other things would be frozen by the liquid. Therefore, he took an empty storage ring to store the liquid. He did not expect that even the storage ring could not store the liquid. Kid, such a treasure usually needs to be stored in a corresponding tool or sealed before it can be taken away. You can't take it away with a storage ring. In his sea of consciousness, the voice of the quant Thai formula sounded. Old Liang, do you know any sealing techniques? Can you teach me one or two? Lu Ming said. I don't understand. The quant Thai formula replied, causing Lu Ming to roll his eyes. Could it be that I can't take this treasure with me? Lu Ming was a little speechless. He felt extremely upset. This ball of liquid was definitely a rare treasure. It would be strange if he didn't feel bad after encountering a treasure and not being able to take it away. That might not be the case. Didn't you cultivate an ice attribute secret technique? You can directly refine this liquid and make it a part of your secret technique. Not only can you take it away, but it can also transform your secret technique and give it shocking power. The quant Thai formula said. Yeah. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He had originally come here to find a cold moon stone to cultivate the cold ice chain, but other cold attribute treasures might be able to replace the cold moon stone. If he used this liquid to cultivate, he might be able to greatly increase the power of the ice shackles. Then let's start. Lu Ming was filled with anticipation. He immediately activated the ice chain secret skill and 9 ice chains extended from his body. Kid, wait a moment. Rather than cultivating 9 chains, why don't you cultivate one? Put more focus on cultivating one ice chain in this liquid. That way, you can truly display the power of this liquid. If you cultivate 9 chains, the power will be less powerful. The quant I formula reminded him again. That's reasonable. Lu Ming nodded. With a thought, he kept the other 8 ice chains, leaving only one remaining. That ice chain wrapped around the ball of liquid. As soon as it wrapped around the ball of liquid, the ice chain made a cracking sound, as if it was about to be frozen. The ice chains were originally extremely cold, but at this moment, they were about to be frozen. One could see how cold the liquid was. Moreover, there was a shocking chill that rushed into Lu Ming's body through the ice chains. Lu Ming quickly circulated his god's power and the divine power of frost to resist it. Then, he began to absorb and refine the liquid according to the method of the secret skill, ice chain. This was a difficult and slow process. Time passed by day. 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, a month. Lu Ming's refining took 2 months. During this period of time, Lu Shankai had led the people from the unique demon academy to block Lu Ming at the entrance of the canyon. However, more than a month had passed and Lu Ming had not come out. Lu Shankai thought that Lu Ming had left long ago and had left later on. After 2 months of refining, the ball of liquid was finally completely refined by Lu Ming and it was completely integrated into the ice chain. The ice chain seemed to have turned into a physical substance. It was bone-chilling and emitted a terrifying chill. Good. Lu Ming was extremely satisfied. The power of this ice chain was very shocking. It could be Lu Ming's trump card. Once used, it could catch the opponent off guard and freeze them. Satisfied, Lu Ming kept the ice chain. The ice chain retracted into Lu Ming's body and disappeared. It had already been refined. Naturally, it had no effect on Lu Ming. It's been 2 months. I have to hurry to the central area. Lu Ming pondered and left the valley, heading towards the central area. Along the way, Lu Ming was also looking for the cold moon stone. Unfortunately, he did not find any traces of the cold moon stone. Just like that, Lu Ming finally neared his destination after half a month. In the central area, there was a huge ice mountain. This ice mountain was hundreds of thousands of meters high and pierced into the sky. This was the destination of their trip. The ice jade cold heart that the Ice Soul clan was looking for was on this ice mountain. However, this ice mountain was not easy to climb. There was a terrifying restriction here that made it impossible to fly. One could only climb up along the mountain. However, there were many powerful desolate beasts guarding the mountain. The 9th young master of the Ice Soul clan, Bing Qing, and many other members of the Ice Soul clan had arrived. In addition, Lu Shankai and the others had also arrived. They didn't go up immediately. Instead, they were waiting for everyone to gather their strongest power and then go up together. Someone's here again. Suddenly, someone looked in one direction. 9 figures flew over from the other side. These 9 people were Kong Xian sects and Hai and the others. After a few months of trekking, they had finally arrived at this place. The Kong Xian sect. Lu Shankai's eyes turned cold as soon as he saw the people from the Kong Xian sect. His body moved, and he charged toward An Hai and the others. His powerful aura was like a mountain, pressing down on An Hai and the others. Boom! The bodies of An Hai and the others trembled violently as they retreated. Some of the weaker cultivators even spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Shankai, what are you doing? An Hai was furious. What are you doing? Lu Shankai sneered, his cold killing intent spreading, making the surrounding air even colder. Buzz! 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 The other disciples of the unique demon academy flashed and surrounded An Hai and his group. The faces of Anhai and the others turned pale. "Where's Lu Ming?" Lu Shankai asked coldly. "I don't know. We were separated from him a long time ago." The long-faced young man replied. "Lost? All right, since that kid isn't here, he'll take your lives in exchange," Lu Shankai said ferociously. The black patterns on his face glowed, and he was about to kill Anhai and the others. The expressions of Anhai and the others changed drastically. The 9 of them gathered together and set up layers of defense. "Brother Lu, wait a moment." At this moment, Bing Qing spoke and walked over. "Ninth young lord, are you going to stop me?" Lu Shankai looked at Bing Qing. "The Ice Soul clan has invited you here to retrieve the Ice Jade Cold Heart. Since we haven't gotten it yet, I must make sure that we gather the strongest forces we can. If you have any grudges, you can settle them after we get the Ice Jade Cold Heart. I won't stop you then," Bing Qing said. His meaning was clear: I need everyone's strength to get the heart of the frozen jade. After I get it, you can fight however you want. Chapter 2737 Fighting Lu Shankai. Again Lu Shankai's expression changed, then he sneered and said, "Since the 9th young lord has spoken, I'll naturally give him face. However, the Kong Xian sect has offended me. I can't just let this go." Then, he looked at Anhai and the others again. He said condescendingly, "I'll give you a chance now. Kneel down and admit your mistakes, and I'll spare your lives." "What? You want us to kneel and kowtow to admit our mistakes? Don't even think about it," Anhai suddenly shouted. It was simply an insult to kneel down and kowtow to Lu Shankai in front of so many people. Moreover, if news of this spread to the Kong Xian sect, they would not be able to live in this world anymore. This was not only their personal humiliation, but also the Kong Xian section's. That's right, Lu Shankai. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. Lu Ming has offended you. You should look for Lu Ming, not us. The long-faced young man also shouted. Lu Ming is from your Kong Xian sect. He has offended me, and all of you are guilty. Now, kneel down. Lu Shankai shouted coldly. The aura on his body became even more violent. Like a mountain, it pressed down on Anhai and the others. A few of the weaker cultivators couldn't resist it and spat out blood. Their bodies fell to the ground. Only Anhai and the long-faced young man were still struggling to hold on. "If you still want to resist, get down," Lu Shankai shouted coldly. He stretched out his hand, and a huge palm formed. It pressed down on Anhai and the long-faced young man. The 2 of them roared and used all their strength to resist, but they were no match for the big hand. Their bodies trembled violently under the pressure of the big hand, and they fell to the ground like 2 meteorites. Boom! Lu Shankai looked down from above, his aura growing more and more violent as he pressed down on Anhai and the others. "Kneel down." Lu Shankai took one step at a time, and a violent pressure pressed down on Anhai and the others. Plop! Finally, someone with a weaker cultivation base couldn't take it anymore and knelt down with a plop. "Kneel down." The other experts from the Unique Devil Academy also joined in and burst out with their aura. With so many experts, the pressure was even more shocking. The disciples of the Kong Xian sect could not bear it and knelt down one by one. In the end, Anhai and the long-faced young man were the only ones who hadn't knelt down. They were struggling to hold on. "Still not kneeling, you're really looking for death," Lu Shankai shouted coldly and pressed his palm down again. A huge palm formed and forced Anhai and the others to kneel on the ground. "Lu Shankai, you're so impressive." At this moment, a cold voice came from afar. Before the voice could fade away, a spear's gleam had already flown over and pierced through the spear's gleam that Lu Shankai had condensed. "Lu Ming." Lu Shankai looked into the distance with a cold gaze. A figure was approaching from the distance. Who else could it be but Lu Ming? After more than half a month's journey, Lu Ming finally arrived at this place. He happened to see Lu Shankai oppressing An Hai and the rest. Boss! An Hai was overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped on the air and stopped not far away. Brat, you finally dare to show yourself. I thought you didn't dare to show yourself. Lu Shankai said coldly. Why wouldn't I dare to show myself when I've just been defeated? Lu Ming smiled in disdain. At the side, Bing Qing and the others were all shocked. A defeated opponent? Could it be that Lu Ming had already fought with Lu Shankai before and Lu Shankai lost in the end? Lu Ming was so powerful? Nonsense. You're just making use of the environment. Now, let's see how you're going to fight me. Lu Shankai shouted, his killing intent growing stronger. You too, if there's anything, let's settle it later. Bing Qing stood up and said. Ninth young master, don't worry. I won't kill him now. I just want him to kneel down and kowtow to me. Lu Shankai said coldly. I also have the same intention. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with killing intent as he looked at Lu Shankai. Seeing the two of them at daggers drawn, Bing Qing shook her head helplessly and retreated to the side. Lu Ming, kneel down and kowtow. Lu Shankai roared. The lines on his face glowed and quickly covered his entire body. Whoosh! Whoosh! A few rays of black light burst out and slashed at Lu Ming. Fight! Lu Ming's body erupted with a shocking fighting spirit. Previously, he had been silently activating the battle formula. At this moment, he had successfully activated the double combat strength of the battle formula. Buzz! The long spear trembled, causing the air to explode continuously. A few spear rays pierced through the air and shot forward. After a few consecutive booms, the spear's gleam and Lu Shankai's radiance collapsed at the same time. Lu Ming's figure drifted backward. So powerful, although Lu Ming retreated, the others were still shocked by Lu Ming's combat strength. To them, Lu Ming could actually block Lu Shankai's attack. It was simply unbelievable. Kill! Lu Shankai bellowed, unleashing all his strength. He pushed his hands forward and a huge black seal condensed, pressing down on Lu Ming. The huge seal stirred up waves that filled the sky, and its power was astonishing. The 9 Heavenly Kuan Pang Technique. Lu Ming cast the 9 Heavens Kuan Pang Technique. Like a Kuan Pang, he soared into the sky and dodged Lu Shankai's attack in a flash. If you want to leave, stay. A pair of demonic wings stretched out from Lu Shankai's back. As he flapped them, he chased after Lu Ming at an alarming speed and launched a fierce attack at the same time. Break the sky. Lu Ming suddenly turned around and cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes. Boom! A mushroom cloud seemed to have exploded in the sky. Then, Lu Ming's figure drifted backward. In a head-on confrontation, Lu Ming was indeed not Lu Shankai's match. The main reason was that the difference in cultivation level was too great. Lu Ming, if you don't kneel down today, you'll die. Lu Shankai's cold voice was heard and he continued to charge at Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! The two figures flickered and collided in the sky. They were so fast that some of the weaker cultivators couldn't even see their trajectories. Lu Ming is going to be defeated. Someone muttered. After a series of collisions, Lu Ming's breathing was already a little unstable. Blood was flowing out from the corner of his mouth. Kneel down. Lu Shankai looked down from above. He held a huge seal in his hand and smashed it down on Lu Ming, trying to suppress Lu Ming and make him kneel on the ground. Now! Lu Ming's eyes glimmered, staring at Lu Shankai's figure. He then performed the air-piercing move and charged at Lu Shankai as one with his spear. Boom! Lu Ming's body trembled violently from the collision and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body fell to the ground like a kite with a broken string. At the sight of this, Lu Shankai's expression turned ferocious. He flapped his demonic wings and charged at Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. In the blink of an eye, he was already close to Lu Ming. However, he realized that Lu Ming's expression was very calm. There was even a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Not good. Lu Shankai's heart thumped wildly, having a bad feeling. Ice chains, let's go. Lu Ming said indifferently. A chain flew out of his body. It was the secret skill, ice chain. As soon as the ice chain appeared, the temperature of the surrounding space dropped sharply. Chapter 27:38 Kneel Down. The ice chain was a secret skill that was mainly condensed by divine power. Its length could be long or short. Lu Ming suddenly cast it. Like a long snake, it turned into a few thousand meters long and enveloped Lu Shankai. Then, it suddenly tightened, trying to lock Lu Shankai in place. Lu Shankai's expression changed drastically as he felt a bone-piercing chill envelop him, trying to freeze him into a popsicle. Break! Lu Shankai roared, and divine power burst forth. The patterns on his body glowed, and black rays of light sharper than divine blades shot out, slashing at the chains. Buzz! 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 Sparks flew in all directions, but the chain remained unscathed. If it had not been for the refinement of the ball of frosty liquid, the ice chains would have been unable to withstand Lu Shankai's attack. But now, Lu Shankai was unable to cut through the ice chains. Whoosh! The ice chains trembled and shrunk rapidly, wrapping around Lu Shankai. Break, break, break! Lu Shankai roared madly and continued to unleash his power. He even condensed a huge seal to attack, but it was still useless. The terrifying cold air continuously invaded Lu Shankai's body. He felt as if the blood in his body had been frozen. In the next moment, the chain wrapped itself tightly around Lu Shankai's body, freezing him into a popsicle. Although Lu Shankai had been using his divine power to resist, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long if this continued. Lu Shankai was actually defeated. Everyone was dumbfounded. They had never expected such a scene to happen. In particular, the faces of the disciples of the unique demon academy turned pale. They were very clear about how powerful Lu Shankai was. However, even Lu Shankai was no match for Lu Ming. If they were to go up against him, they would be even more vulnerable. What a terrifying chill. Bing Qing and the other paragons of the Ice Soul clan looked at Lu Ming and the ice chains in shock. This was because the coldness from the ice chains made even them feel apprehensive. They were experts in playing with ice, and it was rare for them to feel a chill that could make their hearts palpitate. Now, you're the one kneeling. Lu Ming walked towards Lu Shankai step by step. With a single thought, he waved the ice chain and smashed it heavily on the ground. Boom! The ground trembled, and a huge crater was created. Lu Shankai was trapped in the crater, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His body was still bound by the ice chains. At this moment, he couldn't move at all. His entire body was frozen stiff. Following that, Lu Ming controlled the ice chain, lifted Lu Shankai up and smashed him down again. This time, Lu Ming controlled it very well. He made Lu Shankai kneel on the ground. Ah! Lu Shankai howled madly like a wild beast. His eyes were bloodshot as if he wanted to eat Lu Ming. A great humiliation, this was a great humiliation. He actually knelt in front of Lu Ming in public. One should know that he was a genius who could control the divine power and was one of the top geniuses in the unique demon academy. Once he stepped into the heavenly god stage, he would become the holy son of the unique demon academy and have the chance to compete for the position of the dean of the unique demon academy. However, he actually knelt in front of Lu Ming in front of everyone. This was not only about his face, but also the face of the unique devil academy. If this matter were to spread to the unique demon academy, he would definitely lose the qualification to become a holy son. How could a person who knelt down in front of a disciple of the Kong Xian sect be qualified to become a saint? Wouldn't the reputation of the unique devil academy be greatly tarnished? Therefore, this kneel was equivalent to destroying Lu Shankai's future. That was why he was filled with hatred. He could not wait to skin Lu Ming alive. If you want others to kneel down, you should be prepared to kneel down. For the sake of the ninth young lord, I'll spare your life today. Lu Ming said coldly and kept the ice chain. Now, after Lu Ming's ice shackles had refined the ball of liquid, its power had increased greatly. Lu Ming no longer feared Lu Shankai. For now, it was more important to reach the peak. Lu Ming estimated that there might be a cold moon stone on the peak. When he got the cold moon stone, Lu Ming would definitely kill Lu Shankai to get rid of any future trouble if he had the chance. After Lu Ming put away the ice chain, Lu Shankai's body was still frozen. He continued to circulate his divine power and his body only recovered after a moment. His heart was filled with endless killing intent. However, he held it back and suppressed it in his heart. Then, he returned to the crowd from the unique devil academy with a gloomy expression. Everyone continued to wait. A few more days passed, and more people arrived one after another. This time, almost all the Heaven's Pride experts of the major sects had arrived. Of course, the number of people was a little less. They were probably dead. Alright, now that almost everyone is here, let's set off. The icy jade chilling heart is at the peak of that mountain. Bing Qing said as she looked at the icy peak that was as high as the sky. There are many wild beasts on that ice peak. The most shocking thing is that there are a few terrifying ice dragons at the bottom of the ice peak. Each of these ice dragons has reached the heavenly god realm. Bing Qing said. What? A heavenly god ice dragon, are you kidding me? A celestial deity realm ice dragon is guarding. How can we possibly charge through? Are we courting death? That's right. A heavenly god ice dragon can freeze us into popsicles with one breath. Ninth young lord, are you mistaken? Many people started to shout when they heard Bing Qing's words. That's right. We can't deal with a sky god ice dragon. Of course, we don't need to. The Ice Soul clan has a plan. Bing Qing smiled. Only then did everyone calm down. Although the ice dragon is strong, the Ice Soul clan has prepared a type of cold heart GRAS. We have injected a type of poison into this cold heart GRAS. The ice dragon loves to eat the cold heart GRAS the most. Once it finds it, it will swallow it immediately. In that case, it will be poisoned. This kind of poison is enough to make a heavenly god ice dragon unconscious for half a month. Half a month's time is enough for us to rush to the top of the mountain and get the ice jade cold heart. Bing Qing explained. That's good. Everyone nodded. Immediately, everyone withdrew their auras and carefully approached the ice mountain. When they were a few hundred miles away from the ice mountain, they found a few ice dragons lying at the foot of the mountain. Each ice dragon was 10,000 meters long. They lay at the foot of the mountain like a few mountain ranges. You guys wait for me here. Bing Qing warned, and in a flash, she moved forward. After traveling for a while, Bing Qing took out a jade box from her storage ring. The surface of the jade box was covered with strange runes. Bing Qing removed the runes carefully and opened the jade box. She took out a few stalks of cold heart GRAS and placed them on the ground. Bing Qing ran and returned to Lu Ming and the rest's side. After the cold heart GRA's appeared, it immediately emitted a strong fragrance that spread thousands of miles away. The ice dragons immediately smelled the fragrance of the cold heart GRA's. Their noses twitched a few times, and they opened their eyes in unison. Chapter 2739 Dark Ice Race. A dragon's roar resounded, shaking the 9 heavens. The entire ice mountain trembled, and a vast dragon's might filled the air. It was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming and the rest all concealed their auras and did not dare to move. The celestial deity realm was too powerful. It was far from what they could fight against. He could probably annihilate them all in one move. Thump. 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 The ice dragon rose and stomped on the ground, causing the earth to rumble. The ice dragon's gazes immediately locked onto the cold heart GRA's. With a twist of their bodies, they arrived near the cold heart GRA's. However, a look of doubt flashed in their eyes. The ice dragons were confused as to why a few stalks of cold heart GRA's would suddenly appear here. However, even though they were confused, they still could not resist the temptation of the cold heart GRA's. They opened their big mouths and each ice dragon swallowed one stalk of cold heart GRA's. They looked like they were enjoying it. It's done. Bing Qing was overjoyed and stared at the ice dragons. After the ice dragons finished eating the cold heart GRA's, they turned around and walked back. However, as they walked, their bodies began to stagger as if they were drunk. In the end, they fell to the ground with a few thumps and fell asleep. It's a success. The ice dragon is unconscious. Someone called out in surprise. Everyone, let's set off. These ice dragons will definitely not wake up in half a month. Bing Qing smiled and took the lead to rush towards the ice mountain. The others followed. Sure enough, when they approached the ice dragon didn't react at all and was still sleeping. Whoosh! Suddenly, a ray of sword light burst out. A young man actually stabbed his sword at the neck of an ice dragon. However, the sword stabbed into the ice dragon's neck, making a crisp sound and sending sparks everywhere. However, the ice dragon was not hurt at all. What are you doing? Do you want to die? If you wake up the ice dragon, we'll all die. Bing Qing shouted. Her face was extremely ugly as she stared at one of the young men. That person was a genius from the unique Devil Academy, and his eyes were filled with greed. It was obvious that this person wanted to kill the ice dragon and obtain its corpse. This ice dragon was a heavenly god-level existence. Everything on its body was a treasure. If it was brought out, it would be worth cities. Unfortunately, the heavenly god ice dragon's defense was too strong. Even if it lay there without moving, he could not break the defense. The young man's expression changed after being scolded by Bing Qing. Don't act rashly. We can't kill a heavenly god ice dragon. Lu Shangkai also spoke. In fact, many people had the same thought just now. They wanted to kill the ice dragon, but now, no one dared to do so. The ice dragon's defense was too strong. If they couldn't kill it in one move and only injured it, they would probably all die. If anyone does such a stupid thing again, don't blame me for being merciless. Bing Qing warned before continuing forward. Soon, they said by a few ice dragons and arrived at the foot of the ice mountain. When they came here, they felt that the world was filled with a powerful pressure that pressed down on them. Let's go. Bing Qing was the first to rush up the ice mountain. Roar! Roar! They had only rushed out a few thousand meters when a series of roars came from the iceberg. The rocks that originally looked like ice stones suddenly moved and turned into desolate beasts. It turned out that many of the ice rocks were formed from desolate beasts. Now that they had come up, they immediately alarmed these desolate beasts. Among these dire beasts, there were ice-armored lizards, ice-armored pythons, ice-armored giant bulls, and so on. All of them were covered in ice armor as they roared and charged at Lu Ming and the rest. Kill! Bing Qing was the first to charge forward, sword light burst forth, and in an instant, 3 desolate beasts were split in half. Whoosh! Lu Ming thrust his spear forward and pierced through one of the bulls, killing it on the spot. These wild beasts weren't too strong. Most of them were at peak ethereal god realm, and some were at the first or second stage of true god realm. It wasn't too hard to kill them. They gathered together in the shape of an awl and quickly advanced towards the top of the ice mountain. However, as they continued to move up, the desolate beasts that appeared became stronger and stronger, and more difficult to kill. Gradually, there were almost no virtual god-level wild beasts left. The ones that appeared were almost all true god-level wild beasts. Their speed was getting slower and slower. Bing Qing was still fearless and invincible. Every move she made would kill a desolate beast. In addition, Lu Shankai was also very strong. With a wave of his hand, rays of black light burst out, killing a stage 3 true god desolate beast. Lu Ming shook his long spear and pulled it out, splitting a 3rd stage true god-level ice-armored giant python into 2. With the 3 of them paving the way and the cooperation of the others, although their speed had slowed down, they were still slowly moving upwards, slowly approaching the peak of the mountain. If they continued, it wouldn't be long before they reached the peak of the mountain. However, at this moment, a change occurred. From a place even further away, waves of beast roars suddenly came. Then, the mountain rumbled and large groups of desolate beasts rushed over. There were some on the left and right, and in front of these wild beasts, there were a few figures moving rapidly. With one look, one could tell that those few figures were not wild beasts, but the Ice Soul Clan. Yes, she looked very similar to the Ice Soul Clan. She had long, white hair and white eyes. The only difference was that their skin was slightly darker. Dark Ice Clan. D-A-M-N-it. It's the Dark Ice Clan. How did they enter the ancestral land? A few of the Ice Soul Clan's geniuses roared immediately. Dark Ice Clan? What's the Dark Ice Clan? Someone asked. The Ice Soul Clan's elites all looked gloomy. Let me explain. The Dark Ice Clan was originally a member of the Ice Soul Clan in the distant past. However, the Dark Ice Clan was later declared to be the Ice Soul Clan and started an internal war. The war was extremely brutal. In the end, the ancestral land of the Ice Soul Clan was blown up, and our strength was greatly reduced. In the end, the Dark Ice Clan was defeated, and the remaining people went into hiding. They've been fighting against the Ice Soul Clan in secret all these years. Bing Qing quickly explained. Lu Ming's heart stirred and he understood many things. He had heard that the Ice Soul Clan used to be very powerful, but after a shocking war broke out, their ancestral land collapsed, and their strength declined a lot. They were no match for the Red Flame Clan. In the distant past, the Ice Soul Clan's strength was above the Scarlet Flame Clan. It was the true number 1 force in the Qin Heaven Star Zone. It turned out that there was a civil war. In the past, the Dark Ice race couldn't enter the ancestral land without the ancestral token. This time, they can enter the ancestral land and have been hiding in the dark for a long time. Bing Qing said through gritted teeth. Everyone understood what Bing Qing meant. It was obvious that the Dark Ice race had entered earlier than them, but they should not have been able to deal with the Ice Dragon. They were hiding in the dark. After they had defeated the Ice Dragon and killed their way up to the mountain peak, they would then appear and attract other wild beasts to attack Lu Ming and the rest. They would then reap the benefits without doing anything. You want to obtain the Ice Jade Chilling Heart? Impossible. Go to Hell. A young man of the Dark Ice clan laughed eerily and dashed toward them. Chapter 27:40 Fighting against the Dark Ice Race's prodigy. The Dark Ice clan members' eyes were filled with ferocity. When they approached Lu Ming's group, some of the wild beasts that were originally attacking Lu Ming's group also attacked them. In addition to the wild beasts that were chasing them from behind, the few Dark Ice Race youths were instantly drowned by the group of wild beasts and died in the blink of an eye. However, the dire beasts that they had attracted had naturally discovered Lu Ming and his group and joined the attack. Lu Ming and his group were surrounded. It was obvious that the young men of the Dark Ice Race had sacrificed themselves to attract the wild beasts and trap them. "You guys, look," someone called out and looked in one direction. In that direction, many figures flickered and rushed to the peak of the mountain. They were all from the Dark Ice Race. They wanted to reach the peak first. Clearly, their goal was also the Icy Jade Frozen Heart. Damn it. Bing Qing roared, revealing an anxious expression. "You guys block them first, they'll charge up first, let's go." Bing Qing said and exploded out with all her power, slashing out a terrifying sword light. More than 10 desolate beasts were killed in a row. Bing Qing quickly charged forward. She wanted to rush up alone and stop the Dark Ice Race. The Ice Jade Cold Heart was of great importance. It was related to the rise of the Ice Soul clan. It could not fall into the hands of the Dark Ice clan. Bing Qing's combat strength was amazing, and he quickly opened up a path and gradually broke out of the siege. At the same time, another figure from the Dark Ice Race suddenly changed direction and charged towards Bing Qing. When Bing Qing finally broke out of the desolate beasts' encirclement, the young man from the Dark Ice Race had already arrived. "Your opponent is me," the young man from the Dark Ice clan said coldly as he slashed his saber at Bing Qing. The saber light was cold and its power was shocking. Bing Qing waved her sword to block, and the two of them fought. The young man from the Dark Ice clan was obviously a peerless heaven's favorite as well. He was actually evenly matched with Bing Qing. As for the other Dark Ice Race members, they were quickly approaching the peak of the mountain. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he cast the ice chain. Whoosh! An ice chain flew out and whipped at the dire beasts. What happened next surprised Lu Ming. When he swung the ice chain, the dire beasts actually looked frightened. They did not dare to resist and kept retreating. "It's actually like this," Lu Ming was overjoyed. It was probably because of the ball of cold liquid. Lu Ming would not let go of this opportunity. His figure flashed and he rushed out. With a few flashes, he broke out of the encirclement of the dire beasts. Bing Qing and Lu Ming continued to rush out, increasing the pressure on the others. They had no choice but to give up on attacking and turn to defense. Only then did they stabilize their position. Lu Ming moved his body and rushed to the peak of the mountain. Seeing Lu Ming rush out, Bing Qing was overjoyed and called out, "Lu Ming, you must stop them from getting the Ice Jade Cold Heart. If you can get it, you'll be a friend of the Ice Soul clan." Lu Ming did not respond. He kept rushing to the peak of the mountain. His main goal was the Cold Moon Stone. Stopping the Dark Ice Race was secondary. Seeing Lu Ming charging at them, the Dark Ice clan's people's faces darkened. "Kill him!" The heaven's favorite of the Dark Ice Race who was fighting with Bing Qing shouted. Immediately, 2 paragons of the Dark Ice Race rushed toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. They reached Lu Ming in no time and slashed at him with their cold sabers. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming waved his long spear and charged at the other party. Clang! Clang! There were 2 consecutive explosions. Lu Ming felt a strong surge of energy and his figure retreated slightly. These two people are so powerful. Lu Ming was slightly shocked. Even if the two of them were not as good as Lu Shankai when they joined forces, they would not be far from him. Kill! The two Dark Ice race members shouted and continued to charge toward Lu Ming, launching violent attacks. Ice chains. Lu Ming could not be bothered to fight with the other party. He immediately used the ice chain. Clang! Clang! His opponent's saber struck the ice chains, but was blocked by the ice chains. In the next moment, the two young men from the Dark Ice clan changed their expressions drastically because they felt a terrifying coldness coming from the ice chains. They had also cultivated extreme cold divine power and were naturally not afraid of the cold. But now, this chill made them shiver. Moreover, a layer of ice immediately condensed on their sabers and quickly spread to their bodies. How is that possible? And NBSP, no. The two of them were shocked, and they immediately exploded with divine power to block the chill. However, at this moment, Lu Ming controlled the ice chains with all his might and whipped them toward the two of them. The two of them tried their best to block, and although they managed to block a few moves, their bodies were slowly frozen, and their movements became slower and slower. Kill! Lu Ming brandished his long spear and stabbed out twice in a row. The two Dark Ice clan's paragons were frozen. Even if they wanted to dodge, it was too late. They were pierced by Lu Ming's long spear and died on the spot. Lu Ming dashed past them and headed for the mountain peak. All right. Bing Qing was overjoyed. The young man from the Dark Ice race, who was fighting with Bing Qing, had an extremely ugly expression. The two Dark Ice race youths that Lu Ming had just killed were two of the top geniuses of the Dark Ice race. It was a great loss for them to be killed by Lu Ming. It's too late. Even if he rushed over now, he wouldn't be able to stop them. Shouted the sovereign of the Dark Ice clan. At this moment, the Dark Ice race's prodigy was almost at the top of the mountain. Lu Ming increased his speed, but he was still a step too slow. When he neared the top of the mountain, he saw that there was a huge ice platform on the top of the mountain. The ice platform was glowing and there was a fist-sized stone floating above it. The stone was snow-white, like a beautiful jade. Ice Jade Heart. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It was very likely that this was the Ice Jade Cold Heart. Ha ha ha, I've found the Ice Jade Cold Heart. The Ice Jade Cold Heart will belong to my clan. My Dark Ice clan will definitely rise and destroy the Ice Soul clan. We will become the overlord of the Qin Heaven Starfield. The young man of the Dark Ice clan was overjoyed. Immediately, a few Dark Ice race youths pounced towards Bing Yuhan Xian. However, in order to obtain the Ice Jade Cold Heart, one must first step onto the ice platform. The ice platform was huge. It was round and had a diameter of 1,000 meters. A shocking scene happened. The moment the Dark Ice clan's paragons stepped onto the ice platform, their bodies suddenly froze. Then, a layer of ice crystals appeared on their bodies and covered them in an instant. The Dark Ice clan's young men were frozen like statues. They didn't move, but they were still in shock. The remaining paragons of the Dark Ice race gasped and stopped in their tracks. Buzz! Lu Ming flashed a few times and appeared on the other side of the ice platform. He stopped and did not rush forward. That ice platform obviously contained a terrifying chill. As soon as people stepped on it, they would be frozen. Those few Dark Ice race youths were also considered experts. Two of them were even at the 4th stage True God realm and weren't any weaker than an high. However, they couldn't resist for more than a few seconds before being frozen. Chapter 2741 Let Me Try the Ice platform contained a terrifying chill. Even an expert who could control the divine power of the cold attribute could not withstand it. This made the Dark Ice race and Lu Ming stop in their tracks. Why aren't you guys going up? Take away the icy jade heart? The Dark Ice Race's paragon who was fighting with Bing Qing roared. From their angle, they could not see the ice platform and what was happening on it. There's a terrifying ice platform here, Kong. The two of them have already been frozen. They're probably dead. A young man from the Dark Ice Race answered. What? The young man from the Dark Ice Race who was fighting with Bing Qing was called Undercurrent. His expression changed. After exchanging a few blows with Bing Qing, he abandoned her and rushed towards the top of the mountain. Bing Qing also rushed to the top of the mountain. The moment the two of them reached the top of the mountain, they saw the ice platform and the scene on it. Their expressions also changed. You guys want to obtain the icy jade cold heart? Looks like I won't be able to grant you your wish. Bing Qing sneered. If we can't get it, you can't either, Undercurrent responded with a cold face. Is that so? Bing Qing laughed coldly, and in a flash, she rushed towards the ice platform. Lu Ming's expression changed but he did not stop her. Since Bing Qing had already seen the two Dark Ice Race members who were frozen and still dared to rush forward, she must have some confidence. Buzz! Bing Qing's figure was standing on the ice platform. However, the moment he stepped on the ice platform, a layer of ice crystals immediately appeared on his body, trying to freeze him. Holy ice armor! Bing Qing shouted. His body glowed and a suit of armor appeared. It was a snow-white armor that seemed to be made of ice. As soon as it appeared, it enveloped Bing Qing's entire body, blocking the terrifying chill of the ice platform. Holy ice armor, the treasure of the Ice Soul clan. Undercurrent roared, his face was very gloomy. Then, his body moved and also rushed to the ice platform. The next moment, his body also landed on the ice platform. The moment he landed on the ice platform, Undercurrent's body was also covered in a layer of ice crystals. Ice armor, let's go! Undercurrent shouted in a low voice. A set of battle clothes appeared on his body, covering him and blocking the invasion of the cold. The Dark Ice Clan and the Ice Soul Clan had come prepared. They had brought precious treasures that were now in the hands of Undercurrent and Bing Qing. Both of them blocked the cold air outside. They looked at each other coldly and then stepped forward, walking towards the center of the ice platform. Thump! 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 The two of them felt as if they were carrying a mountain on their backs. Their steps were heavy as they walked forward. With every step they took, the ice platform would emit a violent roar. The people from the Dark Ice Clan and Lu Ming watched with grave expressions. It was strange that none of the wild beasts charged up to attack them at the peak of the mountain. It was very peaceful. As for Lu Shangkai and the rest, they were gathered together and defending against the desolate beasts, so there were not many casualties. On the ice platform, Bing Qing and Undercurrent's speed became slower and slower. A layer of ice crystals appeared on their battle armors and battle clothes. It was obvious that the closer they got to the center of the ice platform, the colder it became. Even their armors couldn't withstand it. However, the two of them did not give up and continued to move forward. However, it took a few minutes before they could take a step forward. In the end, the two of them could barely move. The layer of ice on their battle suits and armors grew thicker and thicker. Kacha! Kacha! Suddenly, two cracks appeared on both Bing Qing's armor and Undercurrent's armor. Their battle armors and clothes had been damaged by the cold. The expressions of the two men changed drastically. Although they were extremely unwilling, they didn't dare to move forward anymore. They had a feeling that if they moved forward, their battle armors and armors would be shattered and they would both fall on the ice platform. The two of them took a step back and retreated out of the ice platform. Then, they circulated their divine power to shake off the ice on their bodies. Only then did they let out a long breath. The trip to the ice platform just now was like a great battle. The two of them had used up a lot of their divine power. They immediately took out a pile of divine crystals and started to recover. After a while, the two of them recovered a little. I didn't expect this ice platform to be so terrifying. It's impossible to obtain the ice jade chilling heart. Bing Qing let out a long sigh, her face was filled with unwillingness. On the other side, Undercurrent and the other members of the Dark Ice clan were also unwilling. The icy jade cold heart was right in front of them, but they couldn't get it. They were also unwilling. It seems like the Ice Soul clan will have to waste your time trying to get the ice jade cold heart. Undercurrent looked at Bing Qing and mocked. Even if my Ice Soul clan doesn't have the ice jade cold heart, we are still one of the strongest clans in the Qin Heaven Starfield. On the other hand, your Dark Ice clan can only hide in the dark and struggle on your last breath. Bing Qing sneered. This made Undercurrent's face turn extremely ugly. Unfortunately, this was the truth. Although the Dark Ice clan had produced some talents in recent years, their overall strength was far inferior to the Ice Soul clans. They could not fight the Ice Soul clan at all and could only hide in the dark and wait for an opportunity to strike. Ninth young lord, perhaps I can give it a try. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly sent a voice transmission to Bing Qing. You want to try? Bing Qing was shocked, but she immediately thought of the strange chain that Lu Ming had. The temperature of Lu Ming's ice chain was shockingly low. Even he felt that it was terrifying and extremely strange. Perhaps, I can let him try. A thought flashed through Bing Qing's mind, and she said, the ice jade heart is frighteningly cold, and storage rings can't store it at all. It'll freeze and break the ring, so it needs a special tool to store it. A jade box appeared in Bing Qing's hand. The jade box was red in color and emitted a scorching aura. On top of that, there were many mysterious runes engraved on the jade box. Take this jade box with you. If you can really obtain the heart of the icy jade, you can place it in this jade box to isolate the icy chi of the heart of the icy jade. Bing Qing said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He could not help but think that the ice jade cold heart could freeze the storage ring. It was quite similar to the ball of cold liquid. Lu Ming took the jade box and strode towards the ice platform. What does that kid want to do? Could it be that he wants to ascend the ice platform? It's ridiculous. Even the Undercurrent and the Ice Soul clan can't reach the top. He must be dreaming if he thinks he can. I guess the Ice Soul clan is unwilling to give up because they can't get the ice jade cold heart. They might as well give it a try. Unfortunately, this kid is going to lose his life. Some people from the Dark Ice race could not help but sneer when they saw Lu Ming walking toward the ice platform. They did not believe that Lu Ming could obtain the ice jade cold heart. Undercurrent's eyes flickered, but he did not stop Lu Ming. He also felt that it was impossible for Lu Ming to get the ice jade chilling heart. He had brought the Dark Ice clan's precious treasure, the ice armor, to protect himself, but he could not withstand the coldness of the ice platform. How could Lu Ming? Under everyone's gaze, Lu Ming took a few steps and landed on the ice platform. Chapter 2742 Success. After Lu Ming landed on the ice platform, he immediately felt a bone-piercing chill enveloping his entire body. The strength of the chill made Lu Ming apprehensive. Lu Ming immediately circulated the divine cold force to resist, and the situation immediately improved. However, a layer of ice crystals still appeared on his body and slowly covered his entire body. It turns out that this kid has cultivated the ultimate cold divine power. But even with the ultimate cold divine power, he can't resist the coldness of the ice platform at all. Undercurrent said coldly. The Shun power that he cultivated was also not weak. It was not any weaker than the extreme cold Shun power, but it still could not stop the erosion of the coldness of the ice platform. Ice chains. With a single thought from Lu Ming, ice chains appeared. Lu Ming did not use the ice chain that had been refined with the icy liquid. Instead, he used the other 8 ice chains. He mainly wanted to test how effective the other 8 ice chains were in resisting the cold. The 8 ice chains danced in the air and gathered into a ball, surrounding Lu Ming. So it's a secret technique of the cold attribute. Undercurrent and the other Dark Ice Clan's Heaven's Pride experts were startled. You're dreaming if you think you can block the coldness of this ice platform with just a cold attribute secret technique. Undercurrent disdainfully said. As expected, as soon as Undercurrent's voice fell, the 8 ice chains that were shrouding Lu Ming were frozen immediately. They were covered with a thick layer of ice and made cracking sounds. Then, the 8 ice chains crumbled at the same time, turning into pieces and disappearing. Hee, I knew it. He can't block the coldness of the ice platform at all. He's really overestimating himself. Undercurrent mocked. Lu Ming ignored the sound of the undercurrent. He had expected that the 8 chains would not be able to withstand the coldness of the ice platform. In the end, he could only rely on the chain that had melted the icy liquid. With a single thought, the chain flew out and wrapped around Lu Ming. It's this move again. This kid still hasn't given up. Laughable. It has already been proven useless just now, but you still continue to use it. What an idiot. The Dark Ice Race youths mocked. Lu Ming was on the Ice Soul Clan's side. Mocking Lu Ming was equivalent to mocking the Ice Soul Clan. They felt very good. However, in the next moment, their voices stopped abruptly. Because this time, it was completely different from before. This time, there was no layer of ice on the chain around Lu Ming. The chain was moving slowly, but it did not show any signs of being frozen. What's going on? The Dark Ice Clan's young men were bewildered. Thump. Thump. Boom. Then, Lu Ming took a step forward. He was very fast and took more than 10 steps in a row. As expected, this ice chain can block the cold from the outside world. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with joy. The ice chains wrapped around him, completely blocking the coldness from the outside world. He could not feel the slightest bit of coldness. Not a single bit of coldness seeped in. Thump. Boom. Lu Ming continued to take steps, one step at a time without any pause. Soon, he had taken a few hundred steps. The distance he had covered was further than the distance he had covered with the ice and undercurrent. What's going on? How is that possible? How was this possible? Why is that kid not afraid of the cold on the ice platform? It's just a secret technique, how can it block the cold from the ice platform? The Dark Ice Clan's people's eyes were wide open. They couldn't believe it. Especially Undercurrent, his heart was filled with anger. Just now, he was still mocking Lu Ming, saying that Lu Ming was overestimating his ability. However, Lu Ming had already gone further than him. This was a slap in the face. Bing Qing's eyes lit up as well. Lu Ming's ability to walk so far was beyond his expectations. He was filled with a glimmer of hope that Lu Ming could obtain the Ice Jade Chilling Heart. Lu Ming's footsteps did not stop. He walked forward step by step. After a while, Lu Ming finally arrived at the center of the ice platform. The Ice Jade Cold Heart was right above his head. Buzz! Lu Ming waved his hand and the ice chain flew out, then wrapped around the Ice Jade Cold Heart. As soon as the Ice Jade Cold Heart was entangled, Lu Ming felt a shocking chill through the ice chain. Fortunately, the ice chain had refined the ball of icy liquid. Otherwise, it would not have been able to withstand the chill. But now, it was blocked by Lu Ming. Come in. Lu Ming took out the crimson jade box and controlled the ice chain. With a pull, the Ice Jade Cold Heart was slowly pulled and flew toward the jade box. D-A-M-N it. How is that possible? The Dark Ice Clan's warriors shouted, their eyes red with envy. Ha ha ha. Bing Qing let out a long laugh. He had never expected that inviting Lu Ming and the rest would be of such great use. The reason why the Ice Soul clan had invited the elites of the Qin Heavenly 13 clans was mainly to help them clear out the desolate beasts or deal with other dangers. As for obtaining the Ice Jade Frozen Heart, it would still depend on the elites of the Ice Soul clan. They did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to get the Ice Jade Cold Heart, even though the Ice Soul clan could not. Clang! In the end, the Ice Jade Cold Heart entered the Crimson Jade Box successfully. Lu Ming immediately closed the Jade Box. The runes on the Jade Box glowed and formed an array, sealing the Ice Jade Cold Heart inside. The coldness on the Ice Jade Cold Heart disappeared immediately and the coldness on the ice platform weakened greatly. Boom! 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 At this moment, the entire ice platform started to shake violently. Boom! In the end, the entire ice platform exploded into pieces, sending debris flying everywhere. The moment the ice platform exploded, Lu Ming saw rocks the size of human heads flying out from the bottom of the ice platform. These stones were round and emitted a faint moonlight, like a bright moon. Cold Moon Stone. Lu Ming was overjoyed. This was exactly the same as the legendary Cold Moon Stone. There were actually Cold Moon Stones under the ice platform. Lu Ming swept his gaze across and found 6 of them. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure flashed and he pounced toward the Cold Moon Stones. Kill that brat and take the Icy Jade Chilling Heart, go! Undercurrent shouted. His figure burst out and rushed toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the other members of the Dark Ice Clan also rushed toward Lu Ming. Don't even think about it. Bing Qing had been keeping an eye on Undercurrent and the others for a long time. As soon as the Undercurrent rushed out, Bing Qing's figure also rushed out and rushed towards the Undercurrent. A sword light filled with coldness slashed towards the Undercurrent. The two of them began to fight intensely. Lu Ming's figure flashed and he grabbed a Cold Moon Stone. The Cold Moon Stone was different from the Ice Jade Cold Heart. It was warm to the touch, and one could not feel any bone-piercing coldness. After grabbing it, Lu Ming kept it in his storage ring and then grabbed the other Cold Moon Stones. In an instant, 3 Cold Moon Stones had already entered Lu Ming's storage ring. At this moment, the Dark Ice Clan had arrived. Brat, hand over the Icy Jade Cold Heart. Kill! More than a dozen Dark Ice Clansmen attacked at the same time, launching a storm of attacks on Lu Ming. Chapter 2743 6 Cold Moon Stones. More than a dozen Dark Ice Clan experts attacked at the same time. All kinds of attacks enveloped Lu Ming with shocking power. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted. The ice chains swept out to block the attacks while he himself pounced on the next Cold Moon Stone. Clang! 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 The attacks of the Dark Ice Race's paragons all hit the ice chains and were all blocked. The terrifying coldness of the ice chains spread toward them. The expressions of the Dark Ice Clan's Heaven's favorites changed drastically and they retreated. A layer of frost appeared on their bodies, and they were so cold that they were trembling. In fact, a few of the weaker ones were frozen into popsicles and exploded with a bang, dying on the spot. More than a dozen Dark Ice Race youths were all shocked. For a moment, they didn't dare to move forward. However, Lu Ming could not be bothered. His mind was completely focused on the Cold Moon Stone. His body flashed and he kept the last 3 Cold Moon Stones. Lu Ming was overjoyed to have all 6 Cold Moon Stones. This trip was worth it. Not only had he obtained 6 Cold Moon Stones, but he had also refined the ball of icy cold liquid. Lu Ming had a feeling that the ball of icy cold liquid was not to be underestimated. Its value was definitely above the 6 cold moon stones. Ninth young lord, the ice jade cold heart is in your hands. Let's go. Lu Ming called out to Bing Qing. You want to leave? Hand over the icy jade frozen heart, or else none of you will be able to leave. Undercurrent roared, his face filled with malevolence as he desperately attacked Bing Qing. For a moment, Bing Qing found it difficult to escape. I'm afraid you're not good enough to keep us here. Lu Ming sneered. He controlled the ice chain and flew it towards the undercurrent, sweeping it. Get lost, attack! Undercurrent shouted. He slashed his saber at the ice chains. Clang! Clang! After a few consecutive collisions, although the ice chain was swept away by undercurrent, the terrible chill on it spread towards undercurrent, making his body slightly stiff. His strength was already on par with Bing Qing's, and now that his body was frozen, Bing Qing seized the opportunity to leave a sword wound on his body. The undercurrent's expression changed drastically and he retreated continuously. However, Lu Ming controlled the ice chains again and swept them toward the undercurrent. Lu Ming's current cultivation was still a little weak. He could not exert much of the power of the ice shackles. He could not fully exert the power of the ball of icy liquid either. If his cultivation could reach the true god level, he would definitely have no problem defeating undercurrent. However, even now, the chill of the ice chains would still have a great impact on the undercurrent, causing his body to stiffen and his movements to become slower and slower. If Lu Ming was alone, the undercurrent could have used his violent attacks to defeat him. However, he still had another opponent. Bing Qing and Lu Ming cooperated and seized the opportunity to attack fiercely. Undercurrent could not withstand it and was hit a few times in a row. Although his vital parts were avoided, he was still seriously injured and retreated while vomiting blood. Damn it, it's all this brat's fault, the undercurrent swept toward Lu Ming with a venomous look. Then, it roared unwillingly, retreat. After saying that, undercurrent turned around and ran. The other members of the Dark Ice clan also followed the undercurrent and ran toward the other side. Bing Qing's eyes flickered a few times, but she did not pursue. The most important goal of this trip was the ice jade cold heart. Moreover, with undercurrent strength, if he wanted to escape, even if he chased after him, he wouldn't be able to stop him. Ninth young lord, here you go, the icy jade heart. Lu Ming took out the jade box and set it to Bing Qing. Although he was also very interested in the icy jade cold heart, he knew that this treasure was not something he could get his hands on. If he did not return the icy jade cold heart, he would not be able to leave this place. The Ice Soul clan would not let him go. It was not worth it to offend a large clan like the Ice Soul clan for a treasure. If he returned the ice jade cold heart, he would gain the friendship of the Ice Soul clan, which would be of great use to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, thank you. Thank you. From now on, you're a friend of the Ice Soul clan. Bing Qing was ecstatic as she received the jade box and carefully put it away with a smile on her face. Let's go back then. Lu Ming said. All right, let's go. Bing Qing nodded and rushed down the mountain with Lu Ming, towards Lu Shankai and the rest. With the addition of Lu Ming and Bing Qing, their strength had increased greatly. They quickly carved out a bloody path and rushed down the mountain, then headed in the direction they had come from. Roar! They had not run far when a shocking roar came from behind them. It was the roar of a dragon. From a distance, they could see an ice dragon rising into the sky, roaring continuously and filled with a shocking murderous aura. The ice dragon has awakened? How is that possible? Someone exclaimed, his face pale. Didn't they say that the ice dragon would need to sleep for at least half a month? It's the Dark Ice clan. Those lunatics, run! Bing Qing shouted. And NBSP, it wasn't hard to guess that it was definitely the Dark Ice Race's doing. The Dark Ice Race must have attacked the ice dragons, which was why they woke them up. They didn't want Bing Qing and the others to take the Ice Jade Cold Heart. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Everyone flew at full speed, pushing their speed to the limit. They were like bolts of lightning, streaking across the sky. Behind them, the ice dragon roared continuously and circled in the sky. Then, it looked in the direction of Lu Ming and the others. It twisted its body and chased after them. Not good, finished. Many people's expressions changed drastically. That ice dragon was a celestial deity realm existence. It could smack them to death with one palm. The ice dragon was poisoned not long ago. It just woke up, so its strength is definitely not at its peak. Bing Qing said, but everyone's expression didn't improve at all. The ice dragon was a heavenly god. Even if it wasn't at its peak, it wasn't something they could fight against. However, the ice dragon was indeed not in its peak state. Its speed was not as fast as they had imagined. Although the distance between them was closing, it did not catch up with them immediately. The two sides, one chasing and one escaping, quickly flew towards their destination. However, although the ice dragon didn't catch up with them immediately, the distance between the two sides was slowly closing. A few days later, the distance between the two sides was less than 10,000 miles. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before they were caught. Ninth young master, you guys go first. I'll go and delay the ice dragon. A young man from the Ice Soul clan shouted. Count me in. I'll go too. A few of the Ice Soul clan's young men spoke with determination in their eyes. You guys, there was a hint of pain in Bing Qing's eyes. If the young men from the Ice Soul clan tried to delay the ice dragon, they would definitely die. Ninth young lord, the Ice Jade's heart is important. The rise of the Ice Soul clan is important. It's nothing to sacrifice our lives. A young man from the Ice Soul clan shouted. Alright, you can go. From now on, your family is my family. Bing Qing said. Thank you, ninth young master. Suddenly, a total of 11 young men from the Ice Soul clan stopped and charged at the ice dragon. Chapter 2744. Not a match at all. After Lu Ming and the rest blocked the attacks from all directions, a large group of figures appeared in a flash and surrounded them. In front of them was a group of young men with red skin, each of them exuding a scorching aura. The Red Flame Tribe. Many people's faces became serious. It was indeed the Red Flame Tribe, and there were a lot of them. There were actually 70 or 80 of them. Only those who were below 10,000 years old could enter. The number of people from the Red Flame Tribe had reached 70 to 80, which showed how powerful they were. Behind Lu Ming and the rest were not the Scarlet Flame Tribe. However, there were more than 70 of them. These people were from different races. The Indestructible Sword Sect and the Boundless Holy Land. A young man from the Unique Demon Academy exclaimed. The hearts of the others also sank. They could all tell that these young people were from different races. Just like them, they were from the other 7 sects and powers of the Qin Heaven 13 clans. In addition, the geniuses of the Indestructible Sword Sect and the Boundless Holy Land had also come. Everyone's heart sank. The difference in power between the two sides was too great. They had fought several fierce battles in the Ice Soul clan's ancestral land and lost some of their combat forces. Originally, they had less than 100 people. Now, after losing some, they were only left with about 60 people. On the other hand, the total number of people on the other side was about 150, more than twice their number. Bing Qing, hand over all your storage rings and I'll let you go. A burly Heaven's favorite of the Red Flame race sneered. His body was like a burning piece of iron, emitting wisps of divine fire. His power was astonishing. Yan Sen, if you have the ability, then come and take it yourself. Bing Qing said coldly as the coldness around her became stronger and stronger. The Ice Soul clan had obtained the Ice Jade Cold Heart after so many years. How could he give it away? If you don't want to hand it over, then did you really obtain the Icy Jade Chilling Heart? Today, none of you will leave. Attack! The brawny young man of the Red Flame tribe, Yan Sen, waved his hand and gave the order. Kill! Kill! The paragons of the Scarlet Flame race, the Immortal Sword sect, and the other sects shouted. Their auras surged as they charged toward Lu Ming and the others. Let's gather together and charge forward. As long as we can get out of this path, we'll be saved. Kill! Bing Qing roared and took the lead, charging towards the Red Flame tribe. Beams of sword chi bloomed from Bing Qing's hands. They were extremely cold, and everywhere they said, layers of frost appeared. Small tricks, transform, die. Yan Sen shouted as he charged towards Bing Qing. His body was covered in flames, and the temperature of the air rose rapidly. Boom! 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 He kept swinging his fists, sending lava-like fist shadows towards Bing Qing. The air was filled with sizzling sounds and violent rumbles. Circles of hot and cold energy spread out. The two of them fought. Yan Sen's combat strength was also extremely terrifying, and he was tied with Bing Qing. At the same time, Lu Ming and the rest were also under terrifying attacks. Ah! Ah! A few screams were heard. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. As soon as they exchanged blows, Lu Ming's side suffered heavy injuries and a few of them were killed. Lu Ming and the rest's charging formation was also stopped. Buzz! The sound of a sword resounded through the sky. A young man in black with a cold expression and terrifying combat strength slashed out with his sword, killing a genius of the Ice Soul clan. This was a heaven's favorite from the indestructible sword sect. His strength was slightly stronger than Lu Shankai's. On the other side, a white-robed young man was extremely refined. However, his combat strength was also extremely terrifying. In a single exchange, he had also killed one person. This person was from the boundless Holy Land. The most shocking thing was that there were a few paragons in the Scarlet Flame tribe who were not weaker than Lu Shankai. Some of them were even stronger than Lu Shankai. Under the leadership of these people, Lu Ming's side was forced to retreat and people were killed one after another. Boom! An expert from the Red Flame tribe threw a punch and turned a disciple from the Kongxian sect into ashes. Kongxian sect had sent a total of 10 heaven's favorites. They had not died before, but now, they were the first to die. This can't go on. Well, split up and leave in groups. Follow me, Wan, Jiao said. Lu Ming roared. Given the current situation, Lu Ming could no longer care about the Ice Soul clan. He led the people from the Kongxian sect and charged wildly to the side. Lu Ming was at the forefront. He burst out with all his strength and kept stabbing with his long spear. 2 Scarlet Flame tribe youths were assassinated by Lu Ming in a row. The other Scarlet Flame tribe youths coughed up blood and retreated. Brat, you're looking for death. A young expert of the Scarlet Flame tribe had his eyes on Lu Ming and was charging toward him. He was wearing a pair of crimson gloves. He threw a few consecutive punches, and the scorching fist force crushed toward Lu Ming. Before the fist force arrived, everyone felt as if their bodies were burning. The long spear in Lu Ming's hands swept out continuously and collided with the person. However, the result was that Lu Ming was forced to retreat a few steps. What powerful battle prowess! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The Scarlet Flame tribe's combat strength was not any weaker than Lu Shankai's. Lu Ming was at a disadvantage in a head-on collision. Brat, you dare to kill the people of my red flame race? Die! The young man from the Scarlet Flame tribe said ferociously and continued to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming gave it his all to fight against the other party. An Hai and the rest formed a circle to block the attacks from all directions. However, the situation was still precarious. Boom! 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 Lu Ming and the young man from the Scarlet Flame tribe exchanged more than 10 moves in an instant. In the end, Lu Ming kept retreating and was completely suppressed. Brat, turn to ashes. The young man from the Red Flame tribe roared and punched madly. Is that so? Lu Ming said coldly. Then, an ice chain flew out of his body and wrapped around the other party. Just a mere chain, melt it. The young man from the Red Flame tribe said coldly. He did not care about the ice chains at all. He threw a punch, and a hot flame shot toward the ice chains, trying to melt them. However, the ice chain was completely fine and Pa-S said through. The young man from the Red Flame tribe was shocked. He didn't expect that his fist force would have no effect on the ice chain. While he was stunned, the ice chain had already wrapped around him and quickly tightened. Transform, die! The young man from the Scarlet Flame tribe shouted and exploded. His body was like a furnace. The temperature was so high that it was about to melt the ice chains. However, the ice chain was not affected at all. It quickly tightened. The terrifying coldness extinguished the flames of the young man from the Red Flame tribe. Then, a layer of ice covered the young man. Impossible, no, the young man from the Scarlet Flame tribe shouted in horror. He never dreamed that Lu Ming could control such a terrifying ice that he could even freeze his flames. Chapter 2745 Desperate breakthrough. The young man from the Red Flame tribe was terrified. He felt his burning blood begin to freeze. His body was stiff and he could not move. Save me, the young man from the Red Flame tribe shouted in fear. Kill! Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. The spear's gleam pierced through and killed the genius of the Scarlet Flame tribe. A heaven's favorite who was not weaker than Lu Shankai had fallen just like that. Brat, you're looking for death. Damn it. Immediately, there were roars of anger. Many of the Scarlet Flame clan's prodigies looked at Lu Ming with rage. The young man from the Red Flame tribe had an extraordinary status in the Red Flame tribe. He was extremely talented. However, he had fallen at the hands of Lu Ming. The members of the Red Flame tribe were filled with murderous intent. Let's go, go! Lu Ming shouted. He waved the ice chains continuously and they flew toward the Scarlet Flame tribe youths who were besieging An Hai and the others. The Scarlet Flame tribe youths were shocked and dodged. An Hai and the rest also broke free and joined Lu Ming, charging forward together. Kill him. That brat must die. The others can surround him and not kill him. Kill that brat first. Yen Sun, who was fighting with Bing Qing, shouted. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! One by one, the youths of the Scarlet Flame tribe charged at Lu Ming. Some of them were moving at an astonishing speed. Boom! In front of Lu Ming, there was a 3-meter-tall young man from the Red Flame tribe. His fist was as heavy as a mountain, and it was aimed at Lu Ming. So strong! Lu Ming was shocked and quickly waved his spear to block it. Clang! His opponent's punch landed on the long spear, causing it to shake violently. Lu Ming felt an overwhelming pressure pressing down on him. Lu Ming's figure retreated rapidly, and he felt as if his arm was about to split open. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Strong! This young man from the Scarlet Flame clan, who was more than 3 meters tall, was astonishingly strong. Lu Ming felt that his combat strength was not weaker than Bing Qing's. Within the Scarlet Flame clan, there were many Heaven's favorites and experts. No wonder they were the strongest clan in the Qin Tian galaxy. Without a doubt, they were also the strongest force. Brat, I'm going to grind your bones and scatter your ashes. Kill them all. I'm going to kill them all. The Red Flame tribe youth, who was more than 3 meters tall, roared and kept punching Lu Ming with both fists. At the same time, the other members of the Scarlet Flame tribe had also arrived. They charged toward Lu Ming, and Hai, and the others. Bang! Bang! In the blink of an eye, 2 young men from the Kongxian sect were blown up in the air and turned into ashes in the scorching heat. We're finished, we're finished. A young man from the Kongxian sect shouted, revealing a look of despair. Faced with such a situation, they would definitely die today. At this moment, Lu Ming was also facing immense pressure. The 3-meter-tall young man was not the only powerful Red Flame tribe member. There were a few more behind him. Although they were not as strong as the former, they were still very terrifying. They attacked Lu Ming together, trying to kill him. Lu Ming could only control the ice chain to bind the other party. However, the other party knew the power of the ice shackles. Naturally, they would not let Lu Ming have his way. As soon as the ice shackles were out, they retreated quickly and avoided them. Only the young man from the Red Flame tribe, who was more than 3 meters tall, was fearless. His aura was wild, and his body was covered in blazing divine fire. He kept punching at the ice chains. Boom! Boom! The burning fist force collided with the ice chain, but it did not extinguish. Instead, it sent the ice chain flying back. The other party was too powerful, and Lu Ming's cultivation was too low. The power of the ice chain was limited, after all, and it was impossible for him to cross a long distance to freeze his opponent. The Scarlet Flame tribe youth who was more than 3 meters tall had the ability to block it. I'll block this strange chain. They'll go kill him. The young man from the Scarlet Flame tribe, who was more than 3 meters tall, roared and launched an attack, targeting the ice chains. The other experts from the Scarlet Flame tribe, on the other hand, attacked Lu Ming. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's situation became precarious. 2 more people from the Kongxian sect had died. At this moment, there were only 5 people left from the Kongxian sect, including Lu Ming. The other 4 people, including An Hai and the long-faced young man, were all seriously injured. Their faces were filled with despair. At this moment, the Ice Soul clan and several other sects had suffered heavy losses. People were dying in battle. The number of people on their side was decreasing. What should we do? What should we do? Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly, trying to think of a way to escape. However, the difference in strength between the 2 parties was too great. Even if Lu Ming wanted to escape alone, it would be difficult. Kid, we can only give it our all now. At this moment, the voice of the Quant Tai formula rang in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. Take a gamble? How do we fight? Lu Ming quickly asked. Do you still remember the Dark Dragon Blood Jade I absorbed in the Dark Dragon Secret Realm? The Quant Tai formula said. The Dark Dragon Blood Jade, could it be that you've already refined the Dark Dragon Blood Jade's energy? Lu Ming said hurriedly. That's right. After all these years, I've refined all the energy of the Dark Dragon Blood Jade. I can pass it to you now. This energy is very strong. Even if you cultivate 5 divine flames, it'll be enough for you to reach the true God realm in a short time. That's right. It's extremely dangerous to try to break through during a great battle. If you're not careful, you might go into chi deviation and die from an explosion. The Quant Tai formula said. I'll definitely try. Please transfer your energy to me. Lu Ming said hurriedly. It wasn't like he hadn't tried to break through during a great battle before. He had plenty of experience. Alright, then get ready. Let's begin. As soon as the measure character was spoken, Lu Ming felt that the measure character in his sea of consciousness was shining. Then, a huge wave of energy gushed out from the measure character and surged into Lu Ming's body. This energy was extremely pure and could be converted into divine power in an instant. Refine, refine, Lu Ming circulated the universe thousand Tao mantra frantically and began to refine it. This energy was quickly transformed into Lu Ming's divine power. The divine fire in Lu Ming's dantian grew stronger and stronger. In an instant, Lu Ming's cultivation base had reached the peak of the 8th level Void God realm. Then, with a boom, his body seemed to explode, and his aura suddenly soared. 9th level Void God realm. In just a breath's time, Lu Ming's cultivation had advanced from 8th level Void God realm to 9th level Void God realm. You've broken through? How is that possible? The others were shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to have a breakthrough in his cultivation in such a situation. Even if I break through, I'll still die. The more than 3-meter-tall young man from the Scarlet Flame tribe roared and charged at Lu Ming again. The other talents of the Scarlet Flame tribe also charged at Lu Ming. There were a total of 9 experts who were charging at Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming's fighting spirit soared. He swept his long spear out continuously, clashing with his opponent. However, even though Lu Ming's cultivation base had broken through to 9th tier Void God level, he was still not a match for so many Scarlet Flame clan's prodigies in a head-on collision. He was still at a disadvantage. Only by breaking through to the true God realm could he kill his way out. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.